in a matter of 10 years. Just through amalgamation, through bringing out, because babies come out every day.
That's right.
If the next million or 100 million babies that come out in America in the next 10 years are mixed babies, according to their constitution, they are all black babies.
That's right.
The fear of a black nation. The fear that America, because it's democratic and this is a democratic nation and we believe in democracy, that in 50 years, according to demographers, with people who predict, populations and futures, we'll be the majority.
Yep.
And that's the biggest fear. So how do you combat that? You combat it, it was during the Nixon administration.
Yep.
Nixon administration, he got the report on, the growth of the black nation, and how fast we're making children. And from that point on, they started implementing certain things. Is it amazing that the school and the hospital look the same? As Dr. Umar Johnson always say, they all look like prisons.
Yeah.
They say the pipeline from school to prison.
Yes, sir.
Even if you go back to Bible, they got plenty of examples and experience in this. This ain't their first time. Kill the babies under what? Two.
Yep. King Herod. Yeah.
King Herod. So we
Ancient Egypt too.
Ancient Egypt too.
Yeah,
so you start seeing.
That's right. Yeah.
You start seeing this enacted in the 70s. You start seeing counterinsurgency drugs, his brother Wesley Muhammad. So you start seeing heroin going in our community. So we had a heroin epidemic.
That's right.
In the 60s and the 70s, because you had Huey Newton talking about black power, Elvis Cleavage, H. Rap Brown, all these people, Fred Hampton, black power. You had Stokely Carmichael and all them, Snick, all that, talking about black power. And you see black folks wearing afros. You see black folks being educated, speaking very articulate. That was during the Nixon era. They said, let's start a war. Send them to Vietnam. A lot of black folks that lost their lives in Vietnam. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
Yeah. Good people. What's up? What's good, man? I'm blessed to be your host, Caleb Smith. Today, we got another classic interview, man. We have an absolute legend, author, businessman, savant, game giver, everything that you can think of, man, under the sun. We got Pimp and Ken in the building. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Great, man. Great. Man, first off, I appreciate you, man, for pulling up, man, to the studio, giving us your time, being on the platform. You got something in your hand, man. If you can you just break this down? What you got?
Yeah, well, this is the 48 Laws of Game. Believe it or not, this is the first thing that I ever got a real bag for legitimate. They gave me $250,000. Simon Schuster, owned by CBS.
Yes, it's
to
huge.
write this book. I never wrote a book in my life. But the good thing about it, when I was in prison, I used to write the Sunday school lesson for the Moore Science Temple.
Come on now.
So I did a lot of writing.
Yes.
And to get out of jail, you take college courses. So I took English 101, English 102, and I aced those courses. And I made the dean list, the prison dean list, but it was a university outside the University of Wisconsin.
Wow.
So that was a good thing. I had skills and didn't even know I had skills. I was calling myself being slick, trying to get out of prison.
Yes, sir.
But I was educating myself, right?
Work for your benefit.
And so when they asked me to write the book, at first they offered me $25,000. I said I was driving the Benz at the time. I said that won't even pay for the front end clip on my Benz. So the guy Jeremy, who's the publisher, man, shout out to Jeremy and Simon Schuster.
Yes,
he
sir.
called me back. He said, "Well, would $250,000 pay for your new Benz?" I said, "Hell yeah." So I didn't have no skills, so they get this lady named Karen Hunter who wrote the book
I love Karen Hunter.
Remember Superhead?
Yeah. Yep, she's a legend.
Yeah, Karen Hunter wrote the Superhead with Corinne Steffens.
Yeah.
So I said, hell yeah, I want to work with her. She wrote Superhead. That's a classic. So we was writing, and she couldn't get into my mindset. She didn't understand the game. So I'm thinking about, I got $125,000. I got to get another $125,000 to get the other back. So I just started writing. And she said, you're doing an excellent job.
Wow.
And so I ended up, writing most of the stuff. And then that's when I realized that I was a good writer because I was using the 5-paragraph form that you learn in English 101 and, you know, how to tell stories and stuff like that. So I learned that through college,
Yes,
you
sir.
know, penitentiary college, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, and so that got the book, and the book, we was negotiating the term. So they said, we want to be like Iceberg. I said, I'm not no Iceberg Slim type dude. I'm a player. I'm
And
a
that's what I was going to
finesse.
ask you.
I said, I never used drugs. I
Yeah.
never, you know, did all that violence and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You know, I come from pimping is a non-contact sport. So I was trying to explain that to them. But they had I would say, a perception of Hollywood version of the game.
Wow.
They had a Hollywood perception. They thought that, you know, it's beat women and
Yeah.
all this negativity they associate with the game that
That's
has
right.
nothing to do with the game. So once I explained it, I said, I want to do a parody, you know, where I do the 48 laws of game instead of the 48 laws of power.
That's right.
And then I use the ology, which is ology meaning the study of, so pimpology, the study of pimping. So I came up with that, and I said, I don't want to do a memoir, you know, I don't want to do a autobiography. I want to do like a biopic type stuff, you know, like a little small, you know, mini bio. So that's what I call it. So they said, cool. But then I said, it got to be a self-help book. They said, why you want to call it a self-help book? I said, because I want to be next to Robert Greene,
Yes, sir.
Machiavelli, Sun Tzu, Kiyosaki, Les Brown. I don't want to be back there in the chilling circuit with Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, Dr. Ben, Francis Cress Welsing.
Yeah.
They put all the African-American books in the back of the Burns and
is
Nobles.
true.
Game could be any time when you get the advantage. You know,
That's
when
right.
you know how to manipulate the situation. So I knew how to manipulate because I read a lot. I've been in Barnes and Nobles a lot, and I know where they put the African-American books at.
Right.
I knew where they put the self-help books, so I called this a self-help book. So I was giving them a lot of game, you know, when we was in our little board meetings and stuff like that. They was like, wow, you're pretty ingenious. I said, no. I said, I'm just from the streets. I said, in the streets, just basic knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Your spot is the first spot they go to, and then, you know, you can throw this, whatever, you know. I don't want to give people no negative vibes, but I'm just
You're
saying,
good. Yeah.
hypothetically speaking, that's how you look at it in the streets. So we end up, this book is in its 30th printing.
Wow.
Most books only go to 2 printings.
Congrats.
This book is in its 30th printing. It's still selling like hotcakes. And another interesting fun fact was this book, they really played me. I got pimped. I'm telling you, they pimped the shit out of me. I'm gonna tell you, they told me it was 15%, right? So I said, okay, that's standard, right? That's standard for books, you know. That's what The Rock get. That's what everybody get, unless you got a different situation, like you Barack Obama, and you get in a higher advance.
That's right.
And you get a higher premium. So they said 15%, but it says the one word they use, revert. That word, if y'all see that word, y'all watch out for that word revert. So the word revert, I knew what it meant, but I didn't put it in the context of a contract, right? You know, I thought it meant, you know, to revert to something else. But it says 15%, but after the paperback, it reverts. When it go to paperback, it reverts to 5%.
Wow.
So instead of getting 15%, I was getting 5% royalties. So I'm saying I got this amount of money coming, but I didn't know that 10% was depleted from the original deal.
Wow.
It was taken out. So I was like, man. So I had to come up with a way to get back. So I go back to my street ethics, right?
That's
I
right.
said, I can't come up here with a pistol. So I said, I want to do the audio book. And they said, well, at this time, they went hip to the audio book. They said, well, how much you want to do the audio book for? I said, I'll give y'all $50,000, you know. So they said, cool. So I went on the internet like we always do, and I copy and paste me a contract. I put a Jewish name up under there for my lawyer, you know, Lindbergh. And I said, it's the contract. So I went in there, and they had all these Harvard and Yale graduates, all these lawyers. So I had to check on the thing. So I act like I was endorsing the check, and I flipped the check. They read the contract because, you know, it was a spur of the moment. So they read and woo-the-woo. So after they read the shit, you know, they said, cool. They just was looking at the 50,000. All they was thinking about was that 50,000 that I showed them. So I left up out of there. When I left up out of there, And my publisher called me and said, "Hey man, the check wasn't signed." I said, "Did you read the contract?" You know what I'm saying? So now in the contract, I said the royalties from the pay the audiobook will come from the royalties of Pimpology the book.
Wow.
Although I went 50,000 in the rear on the book, now I done made since then hundreds and hundreds of thousands off the audio. And if you go to audible.com, iTunes, you'll see the owner and the exclusive owner is Ken Ivey.
Wow.
So I was able to get my integrity back and get my situation back without pulling a gun, without doing this, and they taught me that. So that being in a big corporation like Simon Schuster, that's owned by a $1 billion company, CBS, I learned a lot of business tactics. I learned how they operate. I was studying their system. I wasn't just there to do the deal. I seen they had a marketing department. I seen they had a publishing department. I seen they had a person that do the PR. It was a person that do accounting. You had to go to this person for that and this person for that. And so that's how I was able to, peep the game and learn about corporate America and structure my companies in that same vernacular, in that same manner, So that was one of the things that I learned from them. But I also learned, about contracts. So, I learned that one word could change the dynamics of an entire situation.
Yeah.
And, so what I did was I used that one word, to own 100% of my audiobook. So whenever you see an audio book, you're paying me and not Simon Schuster.
Hey, I love that, man. I love that. Pimpin' Ken, man, talk to me about this being 19 in prison. Hearing you talk about the Moorish Science Temple. In the past, Noble Drew Ali.
Well, actually, my first encounter in jail was 14.
14?
Yeah, but keep going.
So even younger. That's insane.
Keep going, what you was the question.
Yeah, for sure. So during that time, Think and Grow Rich, what impact did reading that book have on you during your time in prison behind bars?
That's interesting that you said it, because me and Goldie, I know he was supposed to be here today.
Hey, he'll be here next time.
We're going to do a part 2.
Yes,
so,
sir.
That's when we first both encountered the thing, Think and Grow Rich. So what happened was, you got to remember, I went to college, I made the dean list while in prison.
Right.
But before I went in prison, I had absolutely no literacy. I was illiterate, right? And so I fought in school, and I was in and out of trouble. I was a troubled kid. And so when I got in prison, it's a thing that we do in prison. We pass the books from cell to cell.
Wow.
So you got like a week or two to pass the book. It's 3 months, I haven't passed the book. I'm still reading. I'm like, because I couldn't really read. I knew stuff, in bits and pieces, because of course I went through I matriculated.
Right.
I went through the school system, but I never really was in tune, because I had trauma when I was younger that caused me to impede my thinking. Like I tell people all the time, I was molested by my babysitter, the young lady, and it just. I can say that now because I'm intelligent. I can know what was going on. So
right.
I was just refusing to. I was non-conformist. So that led me to not really pay attention to school.
Wow.
Get in trouble on purpose. I took the yellow bus to school. It was one time I even took the cab to school, and I thought I was being slick. I'm going to school in a cab, and everybody else got to walk to school and get in the cold. So I thought I was being slick at a young age, but I was really, impeding my education. But so now I got to pass this book, and it's taking me 3 months. And I'm like, everybody laughing at me. Now in prison, you don't get kudos for being a gangster, a fighter, or, selling drugs, because there's none of that's in the prison system. In prison, you get kudos and you get respect for being intelligent. So you got dudes, and it's a lot of Malcolm X's walking around in prison, that can recite any book. That the lawyers, I'm talking about like dudes that understand legal lead, like jurisprudence, real smart dudes. And so when you just a wild type of dude that's boxing and fighting and pressuring dudes and taking stuff, what the little illiterate dudes do, when you're part of that crew, you really don't get no respect in prison. You end up in the hole, basically. So that made me join the GED program.
Wow.
So I went and got a GED. And then when I got to GED, high school equivalency diplomacy, then I said, I aced it, I said, let me try something else. So I started reading books, and then, finally, that led me to all the Donald Goins books. then finally to Think and Grow Rich.
Wow.
One of the guys was like, man, that's a cold motherfucker. So I read the Think and Grow Rich, and then when I read it, it just changed the whole perspective. I learned how to think. I learned how to plan. I learned what the desire was. I learned what ambition was. I learned what transmutation was. And I started learning. Then I started reading. I went and joined this program called Thinking Transactional Analysis. Right. So that book led me to thousands of other books, and I reading became fundamental to me, and it became fun. So I started reading everything, and I started being more educated. And that inspired me to go to college. Wow. So the first class I took, I was scared. I didn't think, because we think college is some big stuff. So I was scared, but all that reading had prepared me for what I was about to go through. So I was able to I took this lady named Miss Poland class. It was philosophy. So I did well. I aced that, and she said I did good. Then I started taking political science and all these other courses. And I started acing all those. So I made the dean list. And that's what I realized, that I was smart. But had I not read Think and Grow Rich, and I not listened to Napoleon Hill and got into those different words that we said, what we called back in those days big words like, transmutation, that was a big word to me. Subconscious mind, what the hell is that?
Right.
I'm getting all these different terms that I never heard about, and it led me to transactional analysis, which Dr. Ed Burns, I'm okay, you okay. Then I started studying Sigmund Freud. Then I started studying Marx. I started studying, Malcolm X, and I started studying Dr. Ben and Chancellor Williams and Naeem Akbar, and it just shot up from there. So that's what Think and Grow Rich did for me. It inspired me to get into higher education.
I love that.
And to know how to set a purpose.
Yes, sir.
Nah,
I respect that big time. Having trauma, right? Hearing that, I had no idea that, you even had to overcome those things. And even some of the women that you would, encounter as a pimp, they would have past trauma.
All of us was effed up.
Talk to me, man, about that, about you having trauma, all the women having trauma, everybody.
Me being, a mini psychiatrist, studying all these psychological books while I'm in prison. Yeah. Of course, I understood psychology. So when I would deal with a woman, just do my mini research, I'd be like, so, mommy, have you ever been molested when you was young? 99.9% of all of them say yes.
Wow.
And then I say, so why is you selling your body? Don't you think that that's the worst thing you can do? Just being inquisitive.
Yeah.
And they will always tell me, I do this to get my power back. Somebody stole my power. Now, every man that deal with me, they have to pay in order to get my cookies. And they understand the power of the vagina, understand that the female vagina is the most powerful thing on the planet. And it's obvious why we all like it, because we all came from it.
Wow.
That's our first home. We spent 9 months in the vagina. And that's why you see a lot of women, like a vagina, men like vagina, and the men that don't like vagina, I don't understand, but, hey, that's their prerogative. But you know what I'm saying? Right. A lot of people like vagina, including a lot of women, right? Yeah. So, that was what they were trying to explain to me, that, I realized the power at 13 that this man would buy me candy, this man would do this, the boys would do this, and I can get anything I want. If I seen a guy in a nice car, he's riding through the hood, all I got to do is put on something sexy, he's gonna pick me up, I give him a little sexy, take me out to eat, he do this, and he buy me clothes. So they learned the value early, because it must have been some value for this man or this uncle or this brother or whoever it is doing the molesting to violate me, and most of them, even the white bras that I deal with, they had it the worst. When you see a white broad that come from a suburban community, that comes from a affluent community, and their parents were well off, and they enter prostitution, 9 times out of 10, the scenario is almost the same, because they all feel the same thing, that this man, whom I love or whom I don't know or whom is a family member of mine, has taken my virginity. Now I would never have a virgin marriage.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. They're looking at it like, okay, I can never be this guy's first. And then they start realizing over a succession period of time, it's not just one occurrence, it's several occurrences. This guy molested me for 4 and 5 years, and you generally hear that eventually, I had one guest on my show, she said that the guy molested her until she was a certain age, to about 5 or 6 years. Her mama finally believed her, and they finally sent the guy to prison. Wow. For child molestation. So the point that I'm trying to make, it's a lot of psychological things that's going on. Yeah. Now with me, it was confusing, and it was like I put the blame on my parent, because I'm like, they wasn't there to protect me. Even though I had brothers and sisters, my mother was putting me in harm's way, and I knew the lady was doing something wrong, because she would say, "You better not tell." Wow. And no disrespect to the women is not attractive, but she was a very ugly woman. She was very ugly. Very unattractive. But she was like, "You better not tell," and woo. So that put in my head as a kid around 3 years old that something was wrong. Even though I didn't understand wrong from right, I just knew that I better not tell, because she said if she do, she's gonna do all these terrible things to me. Wow. So I'm sure that anyone who experienced any form of molestation, from a male or female, on any level, I'm sure that they were accosted, or they were pretty much approached and told the same thing. You better not tell. That's the thing. You better not tell. If you do, this gonna happen, that gonna happen. And that creates a fear in you, and it also creates an imbalance. Wow. So you become Machiavellian. You become manipulative. Yeah. You it's something different about you than it is with this individual here. Right. I didn't feel like my classmates. I didn't know if I feel like a victim, or I just feel like somebody that was special. I knew I was special. I don't know. I know even though it was from a negative perspective, I knew I was special. I wasn't the same. Right. And I'm pretty sure every woman that came into my household, into my camp at the time, we both were we was in agreement. And the thing that was baffling to me, bro, is not that they were molested, but that they love hoeing. They love the game. Wow. I love the game, not knowing that we are both experiencing the same trauma. Wow. That was crazy to me. As I got older and I really just analyzed, became more analytical, and started to really process what was really happening with me, as I'm thinking about writing books and doing other things, on that level, I'm like, man, this was crazy. And one girl that I was with, she said not only was she molested, but her mom and her father was on crack. Wow. And they used to sell her to the dope dealers, to the young dudes. And she was with me, and she's a very beautiful young lady, extremely beautiful. But her father sold her to the drug dealers. And then I found out other women. I had this one white chick, I ain't gonna say her name because, whatever, but she was beautiful, man, outdoor beautiful. But she had tattoos and shit, and she was kind of weird. And, before she was me, she dabbed in a little, I guess PCP, whatever you call that stuff, those hallucinated drugs. And she was kind of bugged out a little bit, And she told me that her father was selling her to his business partners. Man. She said she never had a boyfriend. She said she'd been having sex from one age to another. And she said in the course of those sexual encounters, she said she never had a boyfriend until after that. And so here she is coming up in a different environment, totally different circumstances. And she's telling me that I'm experiencing the same thing that these African-American women are experiencing. I'm feeling that I lost my virginity to molestation, and that I would never be of any value to no one, and that I understand the value of my vagina. And that's crazy. And a lot of people never look at it from that dynamic. And then you say, well, Ken, but you were complicit. And 99.9%, you're not complicit. These women choose pimps. That's the part of the story that people never talk about, is that these guys are being chosen by these women that are already in the game. And then you say, well, Ken, prove it. Okay, go and do a little research. Go online, find one of those sex trafficking or whatever y'all call it, sex exchange sites, and go in there and see how many women say they're independent. At least 80% of them is independent. And rightfully so, because they don't need a pimp. Why you need a pimp if the pimp is not there holding the man's penis and put it in your vagina? if the pimp is not there holding the man's penis and put it in your mouth. You're there handling your business, and on the way from the pimp, from the trick to the pimp, you see a fire a department, you see a police department, you see a hospital, you see cabs, you see everything, and you don't ask neither one of them to save you from the game. If you're in the game, if you have a pimp. And then on the flip side of that, majority of them don't have pimps. Wow. Go to Magic City. Cross the, well, I ain't gonna say.
Nah, you good. Everybody know. Yeah,
okay, cross the street. Yeah. Cross the street is Magic City, right?
Yeah.
Go to Magic City. Ask out of 100 women. Ask each 100 of them why are they here and why are they dancing. You know what they're gonna say? I'm trying to get to college.
College, yeah. Hey.
And 50% of them is absolutely telling the truth. I mean, because they don't want to. Then you can't have sex with them. Nothing. Yeah. Only thing you can do is look at their body and you can tip them.
You're right.
And they go to Morehouse. I mean, not Morehouse. They go to Spelman.
Georgia State.
They go to Georgia State.
I used to be in class with them.
Yeah. So there's no pimp in that equation.
Yeah.
But then each one of those women that's dancing and that's prostituting, ask them this question as a part of your research. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been molested?
Wow.
Out of every woman that you talk, it might be 2% that say no.
Wow.
Because that's the problem. You know, it's bigger than human trafficking. It's bigger than, prostitution. Mm-hmm. There are some extenuating circumstances in terms of, trauma that is not being addressed when you address this issue. Wow. The only thing is like, oh, this is a woman, this is a man, he's bigger than her, therefore, he must be forcing her to do it. Newsflash, women are the most manipulative. Women are the most intelligent. Women have more game than men. Why? Because if me and you hollering at the same girl and she on the phone with both of us, she getting two sides of the game. So she got my game and your game. So you think she ain't smarter than both of us? Because she got both sides, and that's why women are so, that's why they so sophisticated. Dudes don't understand that, man. You cannot outsmart a woman. I don't care. You're going to get caught every time.
Yep.
I mean, they like expected gadgets. Women are brilliant.
That's facts.
I mean, women are brilliant. They are real detectives. They could actually join the detectives. They could join, detectives because they can find out anything.
Yep.
This is true.
Yes.
I'm not talking mess.
Yeah.
But because, a lot of people like to paint the picture of something else, the guy get a bad rep.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys is in prison right now for human trafficking. They don't know nothing about pimping or human trafficking. And then the system used the women as victims, and they give them an alternative. And the alternative, if you say this guy did this or he did that, we won't take your children.
Yeah.
We'll wipe your record clean. And in any negotiation, that's a good deal.
Yeah. Wow. That's some heavy game right there, Ken, for sure. It's this old famous saying, prostitution is the world's oldest profession, right?
Yeah, right.
Why do you think it's always been so prevalent since the beginning of time, even to right now, during this current time period?
You got a woman?
Yes, sir.
You ever have sex with her?
Of course, yeah.
How it feel?
Yeah, there you go.
That's why it's the oldest profession. It feels good. I mean, sex feels good. It's a really good feeling. And God made it that way for a reason, because God wanted us to multiply.
Be fruitful.
You know what I'm saying? He wants us to be fruitful and multiply.
Yes,
so
sir.
He said, if I make a species called human, and which he already did, but he went human then, he was a spirit. Adam was a spirit.
That's right.
So once Adam went from spirit man to Adam, which is atoms, protons and
to
a cell, to a flesh, he went to a man. Then God said, I'm going to make you a woman. And allegorically speaking, because I don't know what your preference is, religious is, he took her from man's, allegedly his rib.
Yeah.
So that's a physical, right?
Yeah.
So whenever you see any species, alligators, lions, or any species in the animal kingdom or either in the bird kingdom, what makes them most ferocious? Sex. When a lion has a prey, and when a lion have whatever you call that, they team, they little school of people, whatever, they lioness and stuff like that. If another lion defends or another lion make that lion weak, that lion becomes what?
Prey.
He becomes the head of the prey,
Yep,
right?
Yep.
And he get to have sex with everybody,
Yep,
right?
Yeah, over the pride. Yep.
So over the pride, yeah,
Yep.
that's the word I meant to use.
Yep.
So if that's the case, then sex is prevalent in that scenario.
Yep.
Then you look at alligators. It's the same system.
Yeah.
The dominant alligator, what? Get to have sex. And they said, and a scientist said the thing that drives them most is the fact that they can have sex. So God made sex good even to the alligators and the lions.
Hey, silverbacks too.
So
gorillas.
And they don't have the ability to reason.
Yeah, that's true.
We are reasoning beings.
That's very true.
And some men violate women.
Yeah.
Because they want sex.
Yeah.
Some men, even in marriages, that's the biggest problem of divorce. So when you say you go to a psychiatrist, this one psychiatrist said a couple came to him. They said, "What's the problem?" He said, "My wife won't have sex with me." And then he said, "Why you have sex?" He said, "I'm tired of having sex." And he said, "Well, Mr. Psychiatrist, what is my problem?" He said, "Sir, I can't tell you. I got the same problem." You know what I'm saying? I got the same problem. So sex is the reason why prostitution is the world's oldest profession. People love to have sex. And man would pay for it, man would die for it, and man would kill for it.
Wow. That's heavy. That's heavy gems right there. Time to get deep for a second, man. From studying you, man, you were very multifaceted, very deep. And one time, man, it was a previous interview. I'm not sure which one. It might have been Math Hoffa, I believe. But hearing you break down pimping on the plantation, and I had no idea about that entire perspective. How do we try to survive on the plantation as both black men and black women when it came to pimping and things
Okay,
like
so
that?
first of all, pimping is a system of manipulation.
That's right.
It has an embryo. It has a beginning. It has a genesis. For African Americans, that genesis began in slavery. So you say, what are you saying, Ken? What I'm saying is that the masters, the slave masters, raped our women. Brother ain't light-skinned, sister ain't light-skinned because they just came out albino. They are light-skinned because they are mulatto. Wow. They are mixed, right? So how did that system begin? Not only did they bring our sisters and our great-great-grandmothers and our ancestors over here for labor, but it was a lot of raping going on. There was a lot of molesting. They molested those sisters. And they forced the men to marry. They used to breed us like dogs. Like you see a two-pit, you see if you put this pit bull and that pit bull is going to breed us. Well, if you put a strong black man together with a well-built black woman who's a slave, then they're going to produce what? Strong slave children, right?
Yeah.
And they made them marry, so they wanted them to stay together and feel comfortable, so they allowed them to marry during slavery, right? But they stayed in the outhouse, so in the outhouse is where the family structure was. And the responsibility of the slave woman and the slave man was to teach their children to be good slaves, right? Because this was a system. It's like corn, anything else, it's a system, chattel slavery. So now this woman is going into this place, and like we say, sex is good, right?
Right.
It's so good that the slave master would give her a pork chop and say, here, Becky, here, Sissy, take this and go and feed your family. So the male said, well, baby, what'd he do? Well, he makes me have sex with him. And he know that because he look at the child don't look nothing like him. The child coming out light skin. He said, so okay, next time he make you have sex, don't ask him for one pork chop, ask him for 2 pork chops. Wow. And that's where that system of manipulation began in slavery. So when you see the slaves being freed in 1865 by Abraham Lincoln, and notice the word I said, freed, meaning to let them go, just letting them out of their hand, because we were never really free, because we still have to go through a civil rights to get a civil rights bill. We got to go through the United States government just the rights to vote. If we citizens, why we need a right to vote?
Right.
So we never was really citizens. That's a whole nother story though. But in that dynamics, we're talking about, you see these black men driving these horses and carriage. Yeah. And in these horses and carriage, they got on nice suits. And he said, wow, that must be master's chauffeur. They weren't chauffeurs, they were pimps. Wow. Because that system of manipulation continued after slavery. Wow. Because now they can't just have sex with these women, they have to get some form of permission or pay for it. Wow. And they started paying for it because the black man learned something in slavery that a lot of people miss, and they never tell us in history, is that one thing the white man loved is that black woman's vagina. Yeah,
that's real talk.
That's why they call it ain't your mama. Mm. They used to say ain't your mama. That's because that black woman vagina, the white woman vagina can't stand nowhere near close to the black woman's vagina. Mm. And that's why the white man love him, and that's why you see he's starting to come out the closet now. Yep. You see Tyler Perry doing a lot of shows with interracial couples. You see the vice president, you know, and I have no problem with her preference. I have nothing against white people. You see her with a white man. You see a lot of influential, affluent black women with white men. Now you see a lot of poor black women with rich white men, because it's been a long belief and it's been a long perception that white men love black women. And it started from slavery, and that's what the slaves understood coming out of slavery, that this man loved his black woman vagina. That's right. You know, but because his system was based on psychological implementations of slavery. See, when you're a slave and you're a master, you have to rationalize your behavior. Right. So you got to denigrate the slave. So the slaves we were animals, we were everything negative in the lexicon, in the dictionary. We were everything negative. They said that. So in order to believe that, they have to impose that on their people. So everybody, like, they looked at slaves like they were nothing. They looked like they were beyond human. You know, they were below human. So that's what that was the perception. Right. But at the same time, you're saying that niggas ain't nothing, and that these slaves are this, and they come from this, and they come from that, and they savages and all this stuff. At the same time, you're producing children by the same people that you call the savage. So it was unfashionable and unacceptable for a European or white man to openly accept that he liked a white woman. Wow. He is elated that Kamala Harris is married to a white man. They so happy to see that. Now they so happy to see Hollywood has embraced it. They so happy to see that it's cool. You're gonna see so many interracial relationships because the white man from slavery, from the day I talked to you about, from the inception of this conversation about the pork chop, all the way to now. You know, he don't have to give her a pork chop now. He giving her a Porsche. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he giving her all type of gifts. And, you know, he loved her so much that he wanted her to be the first president of the United States. See, the reason why I like about this, most people don't go deep. So they always want that. I'm glad y'all didn't lead with the pimping. You know, everybody want me to talk about that.
Everybody already know about that.
Yeah.
Listen, man, you are extremely intelligent. So I'm trying to just explore that side of your brain.
Thank you.
Of course, you know, with the pimping, that's cool. Of course,
we can talk about that, but I'm just saying, I'm glad y'all didn't lead with that.
Yeah, listen, man, and we got to, but destroying the black man in between our conversation right now, you know, hearing you talk about this agenda to destroy the black man, and hearing you as well advocate about prison reform and knowing how many black men are in prison. What do you think is the overall source of that generational tension between the black man and the white man, that it's now at a certain just overall extent of, I got to make sure that you are now in prison, that it can go from now 200,000 to now 2.5 million? What do you believe is the source of that tension between us and the white man?
Absolutely. It's twofold. One is that do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
For sure.
An eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth.
Yeah.
The white man has pilfered the black man from Africa. The transatlantic slave trade was the worst Holocaust ever. Over 200 million African Americans was killed in the transatlantic slave trade. Millions of Africans, descendants of Africans, lost their lives in the Middle Passage in the Canary Island. Yeah. You know, Canary Island was an island that was on the off shores of Africa, And that's where they used to go. They used to make the slave. They used to actually take 2 trees and tie the old men to the tree and cut both the trees out, split the body in half.
Wow.
They used to take the knife and stick it into the woman's belly and cut the belly out and grab the child and hold the child up and say, I'm God.
Wow.
This is in Malcolm X's book. Malcolm X talk about this. So this is not just Kenism. This is some Malcolm Xism with Kenism. So not only did they do that, they also brought us over here and they forced us into labor. They put 100% tax on the black man. You know what 100% tax is? That means you control everything.
Yeah.
You know, you feed, they don't get paid for nothing. We work 100% free. That's 100% tax they put on the black man. They did this for 250 years. They didn't allow us to read. They didn't allow us to educate ourselves. You know what I'm saying? They breed us like cattle and like pit bulls. That is an atrocity. That is actually that's very licentious. That's the ultimate sin.
Yes, sir.
Then, because of the North and the South having a disagreement, and the South was getting too much money off of slavery, and the Northerners feel like, hey, Abraham Lincoln, I feel like, hey, we got to disrupt that. You know, they went to war. They had a civil war. Mm-hmm. And in that civil war, the African Americans at that time, or the descendants of the slaves, fought on the side of the Northerners, and they defeated them. You know, I think it was in Vicksburg. They finally defeated the Southerners. But a lot of people don't understand, in that defeat, it was agreement. And in the agreement, the original Emancipation Proclamation, it was like, you know, if y'all do this, we will pay y'all a certain amount of money to compensate y'all for freeing the slaves. But the GDP and the wealth of this country couldn't afford to pay the Southerners because the money was so much. So the Confederates, they felt like this is some BS. And so the Northerners had already won, so they just said, okay, whatever. So they enacted some laws. The 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, allegedly supposed to be the first civil rights laws that protects the so-called Negroes in this country. You know, and then we had a great period. It's called the period of Reconstruction.
Yes, sir. So
for 12 years, we had seen African-American senators and so on and so forth like that.
Yeah.
So they seen us grow. They seen us prosper during Reconstruction. Then they came up with what you call Jim Crowism. Jim Crowism, when you say whites only, blacks only, and stuff like that, and they came out with a movie called The Birth of the Nation, where they start depicting African Americans as clowns and said, you know, we had extremely big penises and that, you know, white women don't want to have sex with black men because it's going to mess up their vagina. Newsflash, babies come from there. It ain't a black man with a penis big enough in the world to hurt a vagina. You know what I'm saying? Babies come from vagina, but that was the narrative of that time. And the reason why is because they realized that it's an eye for eye, a tooth for a tooth. That's so right. The biggest fear of the white man or any ethnic group that imposed what was imposed upon us is that they're going to do to us what we done to them. So they always fear that the black man can bounce back. And the black man, because of his royalty and because of his heritage, being great kings and queens of Africa, can ultimately retaliate. So that's one of the biggest fears of the white man, is the retaliation of the black man. Wow. The second biggest fear is that not only do they have personal experience, but genetics and biology back up what I'm about to say. And what I'm about to say is that during slavery, there was a lot of amalgamation. There was a lot of interracial rape going on. And they seen what happened when you have sex with the black woman. It produces 90.9% of black child. And that's why they wrote in the Constitution. If you read the Constitution, you got one drop.
You had the one drop rule.
Of black blood, you're a Negro. And Negroes is what? 3/5 of a man. This is the history. Now, this is in the Constitution. This is not Kenism. This is Constitutionalism. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not making this up. That's right. Everything I'm saying can be backed by history. So now, you know, speed it up years later. Frances Cress Welsing wrote a book called The ISIS Papers.
Yes, sir.
And her biggest, as a psychiatrist, her biggest thing was the biggest fear of the white man is not only that he going to do to him what he done to us, but the black man's penis. that the real weapons of mass destruction is in the black man people, because anyone, I don't care if you, do you know where Puerto Ricans come from?
Come from us, Taino Indians, though.
Yeah,
Originally.
the Indians,
Yep. Christopher Columbus came.
they migrated to Puerto Rico.
That's right.
But how they got so black
Mm.
is they was amalgamated with the Africans.
That's right.
They were having sex. That's
Yeah.
when you know any Dominican Republicans,
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
the people from the Virgin Islands,
Yep.
that's come from amalgamation,
That's right.
and they help proof of concept. Those are called
Yeah.
proof of concepts. What would happen
Mm.
if you allow the races to get together and to run freely and don't put the fear of white women that black men are savages and the imagery that you put on the 6 o'clock news? If that is not the narrative, the narrative is brothers like yourself, brothers like Aristotle, brothers like 2 Weeks Out,
Yeah.
brothers like Him 500,
Yeah.
these millionaires,
Mm.
gentlemen who play golf and do everything rich white folks do. If that was the imagery of a black man, these white women would be diving on these brothers and on all other brothers and hoping that I can turn him into a Him 500 or a Young Goldie.
Mm.
So this is what Frances Cress Welsing is talking about. She's talking about that everything from the bullet to the Washington Monument is in the semblance and the imagery of the black man penis.
It is. Yep.
And she's a psychiatrist. So those are the two things that the Europeans fear. Us doing to them what they done to us, that we having sex with them and wiping them out in a matter of 10 years. Just through amalgamation, through bringing out, because you know, babies come out every day.
That's right.
If the next million or 100 million babies that come out in America in the next 10 years are mixed babies, according to their constitution,
Yeah.
they are all black babies.
That's right.
The fear of a black nation. The fear that America, because it's democratic and this is a democratic nation and we believe in democracy, that in 50 years, according to demographers, with people who predict, populations and futures, we'll be the majority.
Yep.
And that's the biggest fear. So how do you combat that? You combat it, it was during the Nixon administration.
Yep.
Nixon administration, he got the report
Yep.
on, the growth of the black nation, and how fast we're making children. And from that point on, they started implementing certain things. Is it amazing that the school and the hospital look the same? As Dr. Umar Johnson always say, they all look like prisons.
Right.
They say the pipeline from school to prison.
Yes, sir.
Even if you go back to Bible, they got plenty of examples and experience in this. This ain't their first time. Kill the babies under what? Two.
Yep. King Herod. Yeah.
King Herod. So we
Ancient
start
Egypt too.
ancient
With
Egypt
Moses.
too.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
start seeing
That's right. Yeah.
you start seeing this enacted in the 70s. You start seeing counterinsurgency drugs, as brother Wesley Muhammad. So you
Yeah.
start seeing heroin going in our community. So we had a heroin epidemic
That's right.
in the 60s and the 70s because you had Huey Newton talking about black power, Elvis Cleavage,
Yep.
H. Rap Brown, all these people, Fred Hampton,
Yes, sir.
Black Power. You had Stokely Carmichael and all them, Snick, all that, talking about black power. And you see black folks wearing afros. You see black folks being educated, speaking very articulate. That was during the Nixon era. They said, let's start a war. Send them to Vietnam. A lot of black folks that lost their lives in Vietnam.
Got on
We don't talk
heroin,
about
too.
that. We
Yeah.
don't talk about that.
Yep.
Send them
Yep.
to Vietnam. A lot of niggas died in Vietnam.
That's right.
A lot of niggas got on heroin.
Yep. Had the Frank Lucas effect. Yeah.
Superfly,
Yep.
Dolomite,
Yep.
Willie Dolomite, the Mac. A lot of niggas started pimping. It was fly to be Superfly.
That's right.
It wasn't fly to go to a university. It wasn't fly to go to college. So you start seeing all of this simultaneously happen in the African American community. But I could take you back to a time when Big Mama House was the place to go. When we used to barbecue and have soul food and family reunion, all that went out the door with heroin, with the exploitation black films, with Vietnam, and ultimately mass incarceration. In the 70s, it was only 200,000 people incarcerated. The 70s is what, 40, 50 years ago?
Yeah.
2024, you got 2.5 million people in prison. America is 5% of the world's population and 25% of the world's incarceration. Eligibility, we are 13% of the population. We about north of 40 million. Eligibility, the amount of people that can go to prison is probably 6%. And that's just the eligibility. We talk about excluding women, children, old folks, and disability. Out of that 6%, out of a population of 350 million people, out of that 6%, which is in the category of the 40%, and the eligibility, that's just eligibility. That means that not all niggas is going to jail. You know, the underworld probably only represent about 2%. And out of that 2%, 50% of the 2% is incarcerated. And if America is 25% of the world's incarceration, that means that 12.5% of everybody incarcerated in the entire world is the brothers here in America. You tell me they don't fear the black man penis. You tell me they don't fear the black man doing to them what they done to us. You tell me that. You prove to me. I challenge any one of your scholars. I bet you they can't refute what I'm saying. This is facts. You don't have those type of numbers by accident. That is engineering, my brother. That's what you call social engineering. That's what you call a science project. Wow. You don't think COINTELPRO was real when they had J. Edgar Hoover investigated every black leader in this country? And my brother, shout out to brother Fred Hampton. They had a movie out called The Fear of a Black Messiah. Yep. They went and shot that brother, man, while he was in the bed.
And I think, Fred was only 20?
Yeah, he was a kid.
He was very young. Yeah, Fred was very young.
Why his mom was pregnant with Fred Hampton Jr., which came to my organization, Hip Hop Fraternity, spoke quite. Fred Hampton Jr. is a member of the Hip Hop Fraternity. It's on tape. I didn't say that. He said, man, I'm down with the Hip Hop Fraternity. Well, my organization, which is what you see on my jacket. So the point that I'm trying to make, brother, is that they fear our penis. They fear being wiped out, genetic annihilation. Mendo in biology said you could get the recessive out of the dominant, but you can't get the dominant out of the recessive. He said darker genes are dominant and lighter genes are recessive. What do that mean? That means that you and I are powerful, my brother.
That's right.
We are the most powerful individuals on the planet. We can go to any nation and wipe them out in 10 years just by sheer amalgamation. So this is the problem with the black man. That's why Africa get famine after famine, disease after disease. But that melanin in them brothers is so strong. That melanin is so powerful. Even though it's 15 degrees over there, you can't get skin cancer if you're black.
That's crazy, yeah.
And they say they got wide nose, yeah, because those are like vents.
Yeah, they gotta breathe.
They say he got coarse hair, nappy hair, but that nappy hair is a protection against the sun. They say he got real black skin, but that skin, that melanin in your skin protects you from the ultraviolet rays of the sun. That's God being a scientist. The black man is the original man. The black man is the God of the universe. And you ain't got to get that from Minister Farrakhan. You get that from Pimpin' Ken. The black man is indeed the God. We are the original people. Time magazine did a study on Adam and Eve back in the 70s. And they said that the black man was the original man.
On the cover too.
Yeah, Mary Leakey and Louis Leakey, who are anthropologists, they went on an excursion or they went on an expedition in search of the original man. They went to Kenya, all places. And there they found fossils that were 14 karat dated, 22 million years. And it was a black woman. They call it Zens. Zens mean black and Anthropus mean man. They call it Zens Anthropus. They don't talk about this in the history school. They don't talk about this. This stuff I'm telling you, you have to study it yourself. You have to be, that's what they say, knowledge of self. That's what I'm talking about. You got to know this, because if you don't know these things, then you believe all the myths and you believe all the BS that's going on here in the melancholy. It's not nothing what you think it is. It ain't got nothing to do with no African Americans being criminals. It got nothing to do with no African Americans, being impoverished. It got a lot to do with social engineer and the fear of the black man. It's a guy by the name of Kwanzaa Kajufu. Y'all need to go get his book. It's called The Conspiracy to Destroy Young Black Boys. He say his theory is that it's no wonder that you go into the school system And when you go into the school system, it's no wonder you see white women as the teachers. It's no wonder you see the male being pushed out the house and you see women at the head of the household. But even though you might say, well, the man is a deadbeat dad and the man ain't no good, he's in prison, he's a criminal. But what they don't tell you is that when you look at the crime rate and you look at the murder rate and you look at the drugs that are being sold, who are the parents? Who raising the killers and who raising the drug dealers? Unfortunately, the mothers. Who educating these kids? It's the women. How can a young black man that's 14, that got muscles looking like Hercules, that's dumping the ball from half court, look to a white woman for mentorship or for guidance or for a father figure or a male figure? This is what Kwanzaa Kajufu was talking about back in the 70s.
Wow.
Huh? So think about it. Our problem is more psychological than it is logical or than it is physical. It's psychological implementations that's being employed into our community that we don't see. And psychology is a hell of a thing, bro. I play it. It's deep. So you don't see all the things that's going on. You don't see all the components and all the variables that's creating these conditions and these problems. And people think you can snap and save it. So if that's the case, tell me why in 1864, the eve of the Civil War, before the Civil War, in 1864, why did black men comprise 50% of the prison system in 1864? And tell me why in 2024, the statistics stay the same. Tell me why, and this is according to Dr. Clyde Anderson, a man who I well respect.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Clyde Anderson said that black folks only receive 2% of the wealth in this country. That 98% of our wealth go to other ethnic groups, whether it's the Chinese, the Arabs, or whatever people. Our money go to them. He said every other community money bounce 5 to 10 times.
Yes, sir.
15 times. Black folks' money bounce once, if that. 2% of the wealth of this country, black folks only comprise 2% of the wealth of the country in 1864, the eve of the Civil War. Black folks only comprise 2% of the wealth of this country. We haven't changed one iota from a criminal standpoint, from a financial standpoint, or whatever standpoint you want to do. We in the same condition. You say, well, you got lawyers, you got educators, you got teachers, and so on and so forth. But where are they? What are they being taught? They're being taught the same as Dr. Naeem Akbar say, the psychological images and change of slavery. So when he's a doctor, he's a psychiatrist. So when we talk about the psychological image and change of slavery, he said there were certain things that went on to slavery that have psychological impacts on us.
Wow.
That you ever heard the saying generational curse?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Well, we have a generational curse when it comes to slavery. Whatever was done to us through the Willie Lynch program in 17, I think it was 1710? The Willie Lynch. So whatever happened to us in 1710, it's still affecting us. He said, Willie Lynch said, if you take a horse and you train the horse would train the baby horse to be a bucker. They call it buck.
Yep.
He said we teach them not to buck the system.
Wow.
So we still have psychological images and changes of slavery, as Dr. Naeem Akbar has brilliantly enunciated. But at the same time, in that psychological problems is also in the educational system.
That's right.
So I went to college. I told you about that earlier, right? I quit. You know why? At the 120s, I was going to get the degree, but then after I read it, I learned about the Rothschilds. I learned about the Rockefellers. Yeah. I learned about the Gettys, the Mellons, the DuPonts. I learned about Karl Marx. I learned about Socrates, and I learned about Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah. I ain't learned about no goddamn Kwame Nkrumah. Man. I didn't learn about Mansa Musa. And so when I started venturing out reading the Broder Files, and I started reading James G.M. James, and started studying about Egypt, I said, we are not included in this system. And I used to be in the prison, and I used to be so articulate, and I go get all these books out the dictionary, and I thought I was being extremely intelligent, and I was trying to impress all the brothers in the prison. And all I was doing, I was being anglicized. I was being Europeanized. I was learning how to be a European. And I was missing the most important ingredient, which was knowledge of self. So I started reading Dr. Ben, The Now, The Black Man in the Family. I started reading, Chancellor Williams, The Destruction of the Black Civilization. I started reading a lot of books on culture and on history, John Hope James, all these books. And that made me say, and then I read the most important book was The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Yeah. Once I read that book, I no longer have respect for the American system of education because it's a system of manipulation. It's a system of indoctrination. And they indoctrinate our brothers, and you notice when they go to school and they go to Harvard, they go to Yale, they speak very eloquently. They speak like this, how you doing? And they go to all of the gallows, they go to all of the parties, and they hang with all the politicians, and they so educated, but they give up their soul, and they become Europeanized and anglicized, and now they look at the brother that they can help, even though they read the laws and they know the business, and they shine them, and they be like, no, I can't deal with them because I don't want to displease my masters, or I don't want to displease the people who I feel privy to, or the people I feel that's somewhat, analogous to myself in terms of education, right?
Yes, sir.
And so that's another thing. It's a whole lot of things that's going on. That's why I'm not a member of the Nation of Islam. I don't follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I don't follow Minister Farrakhan at all. I respect and I honor everything they say. Yeah. I'm not a brother of the nation. I got a lot of friends in the nation. But one thing that Elijah Muhammad said that I agree with 100% is that we need to get our own land. Yeah. We need to get our own educational system. We need to get our own hospitals and everything. Because when COVID happened, who called hell?
We did.
Black folks. More black folks died because what? Pre-existing conditions,
living
diabetes,
on top of each other.
And all that. Yeah. And then what people don't tell you about COVID, and I don't want to get us banned. I'm gonna be very discreet what I'm about to say.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be very discreet what I'm finna say.
Yes, sir.
Medicare, healthcare, and Social Security, right?
Right.
Did you hear what I just said?
Yes, sir.
Who died? People with Medicare, healthcare, and Social Security. What did that do? That cleared a whole blanket.
I never thought
of all responsibilities of the United States government. So you know how many people that died that were old and that were sick that they don't have to pay Social Security, they don't have to pay Medicare, or they don't have to pay disability? You ain't looking at this. See, what I'm giving y'all is a whole nother level game. Yeah, this the pimp shit here. This the real pimp shit. I'm showing y'all some real pimping. But y'all would say, kid had 2 girls out there that gave him $1,000 a night. He's a big pimp. But you don't want to talk about this $1 trillion.
Who's the biggest pimp?
That COVID just saved the United States government.
Wow.
Shut the whole city, the whole world down, and to cover it up, appeased us with $12.50 twice. What's your bank account? Put your bank in here. All of a sudden, everybody get a check from the what they call them people, the IRS?
Yeah.
IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. We're gonna give a stimulus $1 trillion, $2 trillion. And what happened? I'm telling you, I had a store. Man, everybody that had that $12.50 was in there buying all my stuff. The malls, the whole time they gave them checks out, the malls stayed busy because we have not been taught financial literacy. We don't understand business. So it's an old saying that if you give every person reparation that was in slavery, the descendants of that person, he said within 4 to 5 years, the 1% will have it back. And you can see that, and the sample of that was the stimulus checks and the PPE checks.
Yeah, the PPP loans.
There ain't one person that got a PPP check that still got some paper today.
No, blew through it.
They blew through it.
Never had that much money before.
Because
they didn't know how to manage it.
Because that's a part of what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
social engineering,
Yeah.
mentality. If you change your mentality, you can change your attitude. You change your attitude, you can change your aptitude.
Come on.
Dr. Miles Monroe often said the richest place in the world is the graveyard
That's right.
because it's a lot of potential, dead potential that never got a chance to see the potential. So this is what you got to understand. Look at everything that I said and put it in context, and that will give you your answers. Why the white man, why white people are so fearful of black people. It's basically survival of the fittest. The first law of nature is self-preservation.
Yes, sir.
So they only preserving themselves. It's not personal, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
But
survival.
we got to keep this white thing popping. You know, Putin. It's not personal. We don't want a bunch of niggas over here. We ain't like America.
And it's real talk though.
You know, and you look at most European countries, their niggas or their black population is minimal because they know them white women is going to like the black men because why? We got so much flavor.
Happened in the past.
And you know where
though,
the flavor come from? Let me tell you where flavor come from?
From where? From the melanin.
Melanin.
Yes, sir.
Melanin is formed during the early phases. It creates motor skills as well as intellectual skills, right?
Right.
So the more melanin you have, the more intelligent you are. The more melanin you are, the better you can play basketball, football, golf, or whatever. And there's no reason, there's no strange happenings that African Americans dominate in most of these areas of sports.
That's right.
Because of melanin. But melanin also it gives you balance and it gives you flavor. We have 11 pigments as African Americans. The chimpanzee have 12 pigments. The only thing that the Europeans have is 5 pigments. This ain't me saying, this ain't Kenism, this is psychologyism, this is biologyism. They'll tell you that white folks only got 5 pigments. That's why when they're in the sun, they get skin cancer. They got to have sun shields and all that stuff. These are facts. So we are the most smoothest people in the world, and that's why hip hop fraternity say that hip hop is the new Black Wall Street.
Yes, sir.
Because the black man, and this is gonna blow your audience's mind, the black man has always been a member of the Chitlin circuit. When black folks weren't allowed to go into arenas, James Brown bought a plane hustling in the Chitlin circuit.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got our money out the Chitlin circuit, right? And then everybody tried to imitate us. Chuck Berry became what? Elvis Presley.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? John Coltrane became Kenny G.
Yep.
We got rhythm, my brother. That's
Yeah.
that melanin.
Yeah.
But let's go deeper than that. If you go into like some of the ancient forefathers and some of the ancient sciences, you would see Imhotep,
Yes, sir.
you know, who created the first step pyramids.
That's right.
You would look at the architect and the system that went into building the pyramids. Did you know that the pyramids are 350 feet, and then at the top, a lot of people think that that's a hole. No, that was used in astrology as a observatory telescope.
Yeah.
Every
That's
animal
insane.
that's in the zodiac can only be equated to Africa. You cannot find every animal in any other continent but Africa that makes up zodiac.
A
So we
lion
know
especially.
astrology had
come
to
on.
come from Africa.
You talking? Yeah, you talking?
You know,
Yeah.
the richest man that ever lived
Mansa
was
Mansa
my brother
Musa.
Mansa Musa.
Yes, sir.
He had so much money that he would give gold and disrupt the entire communities
Yep.
and economies of people. You know, this is real game, man. This is the real game. They don't tell you that's melanin. You see what I'm saying? This is all melanin. You know, it was a brother just recently. This gonna really blow yourself your mind. You know, Ghana, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, Freedom and all them brothers up there, they doing really well for themselves. So in Ghana, it was alleged that there was no oil in Ghana. It's a brother, he's the richest brother in Africa almost right now. You know how he was able to discover that it was oil in Africa? He was an engineer in Europe. And when he was an engineer, they had these things that they used to use cameras.
Wow.
And these cameras, you could go and you could look at people's heart. You could go, you could look into the earth. You could see, what's going down. This brother took a camera, went down into the ocean of Ghana and seen that it was oil there.
Wow.
Had the people come, they drilled, they found oil. But it was told that it wasn't no oil. That's melanin, my brother.
Mm-hmm.
Motor skills, intellectual skills. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So this is the problem. The problem is your melanin. The problem is your penis. The problem is, everybody, even under colonialism, the Portuguese, the British, all of them under colonialism, it was real bad in Africa until Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana said, hey man, no more. And he was the first African to get independence. They don't tell you this shit. This got to come from a so-called pimp. That's why I'm a pimp, because I ain't no fucking stupid. You can't pimp me.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? They want us to be dumb. That's why Malcolm, newsflash, Malcolm was a pimp.
Talk to him.
Newsflash, Malcolm went to jail. Newsflash, a lot, Elvis Cleveland, all them brothers went to prison. Huey went to prison. Newsflash, Malcolm, my brother in South Africa, Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison.
Yes, sir, he did. Yes, he did. Yeah.
It's a reason, bro. It's a reason why, they want to paint me as a pimp. Because they know that the knowledge and the wisdom and understanding that I have for my people is deadly. So they say he's a pimp and he's molesting, well, not molesting, please don't put that out there, that he's manipulating women. That's what they saying. I ain't been in the game in 30 years. They still talking about some shit I did when I was pimp of the year.
Wow.
That's how I feel for they is, because they know that brothers like myself, we free thinkers.
Yes, sir.
We got the game. So once you learn the game, you can learn the formalities, con, bait, the switch. So I can see the con, the bait, and the switch and everything this dude do.
Wow.
This diabolical enemy, right?
Yes, sir.
He got a lot of con, baits, and switches, and it's a lot of game, man, that these folks put out, and real game ain't transparent. That's why we can't see it.
Wow.
If you could see it, it ain't game. Tell me, if you think the white man ain't a cold, bad motherfucker, tell me how can a man that got gray hair, that's clean shaved, that look extremely harmless, be the biggest killers on earth? Do you think when them people dropped that bomb on Hiroshima, you think that these were some punks? Do you know how much heart and how much viciousness you got to have to drop a bomb on a nation?
Women and children.
Women and children? You think that all the people, 200,000, 2 million people that died in Saudi Arabia or in Iraq, you think those people was killed by me and you? No, those are those same dudes that we vote into the Senate, we vote into the Congress. Those dudes are killers, man. And I ain't talking about like how we consider killing somebody on the streets. No, they don't mess with America. That's what I'm trying to tell you. There ain't nothing to play with. The laws that keeps us back, the rules and regulations that keep the black man down, these are the people that are making it. But if you look at them, you think they're harmless. You say, oh, that man look at this dude. Look at Chuck Schumer. He's an old man. He shriveled up. But you get in the back room with them folks, you get in the situation room with them people, and you hear how they strategize killing Bin Laden and killing all these other people, you'll be like, wow. Go in there, just blow his brains out and send his body and throw it in the ocean.
On camera, too.
And But they'll tell you
Wow.
all this positive stuff. They're seeing humble and docile, but these are some of the ruthless killers on the planet, bro. The black man have a hell of a challenge.
Yes, sir.
And the way the black man is going to recondition himself or de-engineer is he going to have to, first of all, develop businesses. He going to have to diversify. He got to understand the 4 sectors of power. The first sector being Washington, D.C. Politicians are prostitutes. You can buy one. It's called Quid Quo Pro. Get some politicians under our belt. We get Washington on our team. We're doing it at the hip hop fraternity. Go to Black Wall Street. That's another sector of power. That's the financial institution. Hip hop is the Black Wall Street. It created 5 billionaires and an untold amount of millionaires. Let's embrace hip hop through the hip hop fraternity. Let's form unions. Let's form organizations. Let's form partnerships. The second one is Silicon Valley. We got to understand tech, like you guys doing streaming and stuff like that. Black media, y'all on the right track. We got to control black media. We got to control our narrative. Silicon Valley. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have hhfmedia.com. It's hip hop fraternity. We have our own social media. When Instagram closed down, we were still up. Diversification. And the fourth and final is Hollywood. We got HHF Films. We got HHF Radio. We got HHF Magazine. Control the narrative. That's why you brothers is doing so well. That's why the young lady and y'all is doing so well, because y'all creating your own jobs. Y'all creating your own narrative. Y'all saying what you want to say. I just said, can I say, man, you can say what you want to say on here.
Yeah.
But if we was on NBC or CNN or Fox News, you like, man, they're going to get me
Maybe
fired.
I'm nervous. I'm
like,
trying to
this
keep
nigga
my
going to
job.
get me fired. So, you know what I'm saying? We on the right track.
Yes, sir.
No, we on the right train, but we on the wrong track.
Hmm.
So now, when you think about hip hop fraternity, we own 100% of everything. We have a C Corps. We have 9 children that's subsidiaries up under us. We cover every sector that I just spoke to you about.
Yeah.
That's what's important. We're not pretentiously independent. We are officially independent.
Wow.
And that's what is going to have to happen. Actually owning our own stuff. And you started seeing that. I went to Invest Fest,
Yeah.
and I met a lot of brothers there. And you know, a lot of them brothers are truly independent. They own 100% of their intellectual property. And I think that that's the trajectory that's going to take us into the future and create a black planet, you know, a black independency.
Ken, let me tell you, brother, this conversation right here is one of the ones. I'm loving this because I don't think people knew you got this whole nother side of yourself when it comes to self-consciousness, being aware and knowing that. So I'm just glad that you were able to show this side right now. But man, I got so many more questions for you.
But
as
you
well.
know, the magicians, you know what made the Egyptians so great, right?
What
Was their magic.
That's right.
See, they were great magicians.
Right.
And see, that's what people don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I don't want to be loquacious. I
No,
don't want
you
to talk
good.
a lot.
Hey,
But-
that's
but-
the whole purpose of you being here is to talk. You
yeah,
good.
thank you
Yes,
very
sir,
much.
for
So
sure.
what people don't understand is that, man, a lot of things that you see are illusions.
That's right. That's right.
You see? Never judge a person by what you see.
Yep.
Judge a person by what he do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, judge a person by their actions, not by what they say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the mouth can fix itself to say anything. But the actions, and I think it was Mount Angelo said, if somebody show you who they are, believe them.
First time.
So that's what I meant to say. Don't believe what people say.
That's right.
So a lot of times people will tell you things because they understand how the mind works. The mind works through repetition. You know, when you first was born, you're trying to take your step after a repetition, you develop a connection with your subconscious. Your subconscious allow you to walk. So a lot of times when people don't understand that, it's easy for you to believe the lie that was told for 1,000 times than for you to hear the truth for the first time. So yeah, people will tell you this lie that pimps are savages, they this, they that. But they won't tell you that some of the greatest preachers in the world are former pimps.
Wow.
They won't tell you that the greatest man that ever walked the face of earth, which is Malcolm X, is a former pimp. They won't tell you, they won't use the word former, or they won't put the punctuation comma. They won't put a comma on these individuals. They'll put a period. And they have you believe that all this propaganda, all this melancholy that we promoted on these individuals is the entire picture. Until we have as Brother 19 Keys say, a high-level conversation.
Facts. Wow. Brother, how did you balance knowledge of self but also being part of a whole underworld circuit at the
I
same
was
time?
knowledge of self first.
That's
So
right.
when I went to prison, I went to prison, Cook County Jail. I was 14 years old for attempted murder.
Wow.
My brother Collie pushed a white man, or he pushed a white man on the train tracks. In Chicago's called the L. So the L, if you touch all three rails, you get electrocuted. That's the way it's set up. So when you put somebody on there, that's attempted murder. So we both was young, and my brother was scared of my daddy, so still calling out, saying Ken Ivy and Collie. We said Ken Rose and Collie Rose. And at that time, ID systems and it wasn't as advanced as it was back as today. So they put us in the county jail, and they thought we was older men. We just said we was 19, 18. So we end up in there. And while we was in there, I met a guy named Finney Ill. Finney was a Moorish American. He introduced me to the Moorish science. I wasn't really down with it like that. I just listened to him, because, you in jail, older men, you 14, you like, what the fuck this nigga talking about? So, you listening. And then later on, when I end up going to the federal prison, actually, I learned in the state. I told you about I went to college in the state. So actually, when I finally went to the federal prison later on in the game, when I was about 22, it's a guy named Penitentiary Sam, Pernell Ill, I believe they call him. I was more so what you call a gangster. I was a boxer. I've been in prison all my life, so I've been whooping niggas the whole time. So I'm like, I want to fight. You got to fight to get in prison. I had a nice little physique and everything, so I'm looking for a fight. So this dude, he had the phone. The phone belonged to the Moors. I'm a Moor now, but I don't know that it's a Moor phone. Moor Science Temple. That's the organization, the Mo Brothers. So one of the Mo Brothers, me and him arguing about the phone. And I tell him, I said, nigga, I'll fuck you up. I didn't know that it was about 30 of them in the little thing. But the guy at Penitentiary Sam, Pernell Hill, he's my homeboy. He know my daddy. Mm-hmm. So we in MCI Chicago. So this is MC Chicago. So this is where they hold you at in the federal. So that guy was a Moor too. So he said, man, the Moors is about to get you. I said, Moors? What you mean? Talking about Moor science? I said, I'm a Moor too. So he took me to a brother named Ross Bay who was calling the shots. And so that brother, I was a Moor by name. He gave me some books. And remember, I'm already educated now. So now I can interpret better. I started reading those books. And then I started getting into the lessons. So they sent me to Rochester, Minnesota. I met a brother named Brown Neal, who was highly intelligent. And he kind of schooled me, and I got blessed to get on the phone with Prophet Noble Drew Ali, wow, who was born in 1913, secretary, Sister Christina Price Bay. Wow. We talked all day. I used to use up all my prison minutes and spend all my money just talking to her. So she educated me, and she told me how to go and read this book. And I was already somewhat, into a lot of the stuff she was talking about. She told me this and this and that and the other, and explained a lot of things to me. And while I was in prison, she died. Wow. Then I met a brother named Black. He wasn't a Moor, he wasn't a Muslim, but he was a historian. And him and I used to just chop up history all day, every day. And we used to get books, and we'd go there. We used to have these philosophical, intellectual conversations all day, walk the prison yard. And so that's how I developed my knowledge of self. But I still in the back of my head say, I can't wait to get out and sell me some dope. I can't wait to get out and pimp. I'm itching for crime, but yet I'm getting educated. So when I got out, my partner that gave me my first girl that introduced me to the game, he all the way up. Jag, Benzes, and everything. So, he blessed me, got me in the game. And I tried to hustle, man. That wasn't me, right? And then this girl named Curlin and this other girl named Nancy, they chose up on me. I say, remember I told you that people think you look for hoes. Yeah, they came and just, because, my name always been good. Wow. Even though I wasn't at my peak, all my years of being in the game, I always had jewelry and money. And, I was always that dude, and the one most, the so thumb that stuck out. So the girls already heard about me, and, they already liked me. It just, that happened. And that got me out the drug game and got me into the other game. And this girl named Tangi, she helped too. So that's how I ended up getting into the game. So now I'm in the game. You gotta remember I'm highly intelligent. So I'm studying everything, and I already had remnants of it. I've been in it a little bit, and I seen, what it would take to master it, and I seen, the psychology of it. So I was able to get there. Like I said, the women that I dealt with, I did not only have them be in the game, but we used to have, like, because of Think and Grow Rich, we used to write our goals down.
Wow.
And we used to read our plans. I talk about that in this book, Pimpology, more in depthly, right? But to give you a snippet of it, we just write goals down, and we would dress the best, and we were like, we're gonna go to the Players Bar, we're gonna beat everybody out. We all gonna have minks and diamonds. And true and behold, by the end of that year, they got minks, we got diamonds, we come in there, we shine. It was like a fashion show. So you know what I'm saying? Because of that, and because of my knowledge, and because I was a lot more educated than most guys in the game, I shot up real quick, and I became the top dude in the game, just using sheer intelligence and finessing my way through the game, and making sure that my women look better than every other woman, and didn't put hands on. That's why I say I don't put hands on them, I put plans on them. I really meant that. You ain't gonna find no woman, ex-prostitute or nothing, that said I put my hands on it. You ain't gonna find no records on, no criminal records, because I didn't do that. I was intelligent, and I would sit down with these women, I would teach them certain things and make them read the 48 Laws of Power, make them read Emily Post's Book of Etiquettes. We would sit down and I would teach them how to hold forks and I make them read Golf Digest. I was just a different dude, so I had the knowledge, but the game chose me. Like I said, and then I just mastered it. But then, I knew that something was wrong. So when we did the movie Pimps Up, Hoes Down, I knew at that juncture that I had to get out the game because, like I said, I got a lot of wisdom. So I said, if I'm on TV, and I'm calling myself Pimpin' Ken, and I got all these women on here, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like obvious, you're going to jail. So while they were shooting their movie, I knew that I was making a taboo. They allowed me to shoot my movie too, Pimpology, which people could go to Pimpin' Ken Podcast and watch it free. It's free right there. And they can see the movie that I made when I was a kid in my 30s. I was 30 years old. So I had enough money to make that movie, which is a part 2 to Pimps Up, Hoes Down. And that's how I was able to get out the game. You know what I'm saying? I went and found me a distributor. I made millions of dollars. We did commercials on BET. It's just so crazy. Because at that time was the height of Pimps Up, Hoes Down, American Pimp. So that concept, and then everybody was talking about Snoop wanted to be a pimp. T.I. was Pimp Squad Click. Ludacris was pimping all over the world. And my movie was selling, doing all of that. And that's when people see me on there with the Phantom and the big old house and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I legitimately, put myself in a good space. Then I start, investing in real estate and daycares and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was a journey. I got in the game, and, the question was, how did you end up in there? It was a brief run, maybe a few years, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me because it led me to do the movie that changed my life.
That's right.
If I never do Pimps Up, Hoes Down, you would never be interviewing me because I would have a different dynamic. My paradigm would have been different. So because I'm interviewing with you and because I was not a fool and I knew that HBO, even if you look at in this book, Pimpology, when HBO came to me, I said, yeah, I want to be the consultant for the film. I want the film to end with me and I got to be one of the stars. Because I knew, and one thing about vision is looking into the future, then bringing the future back to you and bringing it to fruition. So I knew the future. I said, if this movie do well, this is HBO, then it's going to need a sequel. I'm going to be a celebrity. I need to leverage that. So I was leveraging my celebrity before I became a celebrity. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And once I leveraged my celebrity, I took my marketing not to the traditional marketing firms. I took my marketing to hip hop. So I got on Jermaine Dupri album. I said www.pimpinken.com, marketing. I got on, what's my man's name? Lil Jon, www.pimpinken.net, sell it to a drip job wet. I had a class on www.pimpinken.net. I had a website before these niggas even knew what. I was the first nigga on the internet. That's why Pimp C said pimping ain't dead, just went to the web. I was pimping. I was doing pimp classes, which basically was just teaching niggas philosophy on another level, and I was getting paid. And guess what? I did project with 50 Cent called PIMP. Remember that?
Yes, sir.
And I said on that, Pimpin' Ken said, don't down them, crown them, right?
Mm.
Imagine if I said Coca-Cola said, don't down them, crown them. Nike said, don't down them, crown them. So I was using that to market myself. So I've been on over 80 million records and over 1 billion videos in terms of views to market myself. So now people say, why do you still call yourself Pimpin' Ken? Because I'm pimping Ken. I'm pimping myself.
That's right.
So I went from that being the #1 pimp on HBO to pimping myself on a macro level. The other shit was micro. And that's why you say, damn, this nigga on every podcast. What's going on? Still the same game. Some pimping. I'm pimping Ken. I'm still pimping myself. I haven't had a female in years. Don't need one. I make money in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? This book do really well. And you see every post I do, I put the book on there. I said, this is my host. She don't argue with me. She don't fight with me. Can't no other pimp take her. You know what I'm saying? And people don't look at it like that. So even though I was a pimp, as the question you asked, and that was the best thing that ever happened to me because, you know, even though I had knowledge of self, that knowledge of self came in handy when I decided to make my exodus. You know what I'm saying? So I made my exodus. I got out the game. People still talk about me like they talk about me like I'm still in the game. So I don't have to be in the underworld. I don't have to take penitentiary chances. Yeah. I still get the same respect I got when I was out there in the streets. You know, street people still respect me. Corporate people respect me. I'm still making money. You know, I'm still creating businesses. You know what I'm saying? I'm still pimping Ken. I'm still pimping myself. See what I'm saying? So that's how God works. The steps of a good man are ordered by God.
That's right.
The roads that you take to get to your destiny is not going to be the ones to get you there. It's going to be your detours. Have you ever used your GPS?
Yes, sir.
If you ever say that you want to go from where you at to, say, North Cross, you're going to leave out the parking structure, Magic City's parking structure. You're going to go up Forster Street or whatever you call it. Yeah. You're going to go to 85. You're going to get on 85, and guess what? It's going to be backed up traffic. Man, I got to get to North Cross. You're going to get off on one of those streets, whether it's Auburn Avenue or wherever. You're going to go up, make a left, get on P Street. And the minute you get off on Auburn Avenue, what do your GPS say? Rerouting.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yep.
That's how life is. Life is going to reroute you. I thought I was going to be a pimp for the rest of my life. But my GPS said rerouting. But my destiny was success. And I wanted to get to success. So I'm getting off on Auburn Avenue. Now I got to go up to P Street Road, and I got to drive all the way up until I feel the traffic and calm down. Yeah. And my GPS just say, go 8 miles up. And then if I make another turn and I veer off of that, it's going to say rerouting. So the key to the game is to have a destination, to have a plan. A man who failed a plan to fail.
That's right.
A winner never quit, and a quitter never win. Whatever the mind believe and conceive, it can achieve. If you can put it in your head, you can put it in your hand. Wow. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So this is what pimping done for me. This is why, you know, what's in you is in you. Yeah. Even though I veered off, I detoured from consciousness and went into the pimping, you know what I'm saying? I'm still getting to my ultimate destiny. My first 30 years was legacy. My next 100 years is going to be dynasty. Wow. To create a dynasty and generational wealth for my children. Because I was always hustling for me and my family. I'm still hustling for me and my family, but I just detoured. I rerouted. Wow. You know, now I ain't got to worry about the police. I ain't got to look over behind my back.
You got peace.
Yeah. You know, so you done some stuff. Barack Obama said, yeah, I smoked a little weed. You know what I'm saying, me? But he became president of the United States. Sure. Yeah, I had a little sip or two. You know, you're going to do that. As young people, we're going to make mistakes. Yeah. We're going to take roads. We're going to take detours. But it ain't what you do in your detour, because that's all the learning process. The Bible says, but the Bible don't say it. T.D. Jakes said, before you have a major breakthrough, God going to give you a major fall through. Mm-hmm. And the example of that is Job. Job had everything. He said, hey, you consider my servant Job? Job lost everything, his wife, kids, family, cows, dog, everything. But he never gave up the faith. And that's what it's all about. It's about faith. You know what faith is?
Leave it in the unseen.
No, that ain't faith.
Hasn't
That's
happened
one
yet.
of them.
Yeah.
Faith is taking the stairs when you don't even see the staircase.
Yeah. You gotta have
Faith
courage.
is sitting in that chair saying that motherfucker ain't finna cave in.
Yeah.
I'm scared to death of this motherfucking chair. I said, I hope these motherfucking chairs is strong. I don't
Yes,
want to
sir.
fall down and break my ass. But that's faith. I got
Yeah.
faith in this chair.
Yeah.
And that's the same faith you got to have in yourself, my brother.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Me, I had faith through it all. I had faith. I know the steps of a good man ordered by God. I know that God wasn't taking me this far. I know favor. God, I'm favor. They said that my mama taught me years ago. She said, your gift is without repentance. And God will make room for your gift. My mom used to say that all the time. And I said, what is she talking about, mama? She said, boy, look how God bless you. Even though you've been a criminal, you've been a pimp, you've been a hustler, you did all these crazy things, in the midst of that, God still bless you.
That's right.
Because the steps of a good man ordered by God. And, you know, God takes you through something to get you, what you go through, you grow through.
Yeah.
So had I not went through that pimping, I would not be in front of you, because that ultimately shaped me to become a businessman. I would have never did Pimpology and made millions of dollars. I would have never been on all these albums to promote Pimpology and to promote my website had I not met up with HBO. I would not be the CEO and founder of Hip Hop Fraternity had I not been what they call me Uncle Pimpin' of hip hop.
Wow.
I'm on everybody's album. I got more plaques than your famous artists. I got more plaques than most artists out there. Want me to name the albums? 2 Lil Jon album, 2 platinum plaques with Too Short, a gold plaque with E40, a platinum plaque with Jermaine Dupri, gold plaques with the boy Pastor Troy, about 4 or 5 plaques with Pimp C. I did a gold plaque with Bun B. I could go on forever. And you can't even, I got more features than your favorite artist. When I die, and I am going to die, you are too, people are going to do a Google search and they're going to research me. They're going to say, this man had a remarkable life.
Wow.
This man done a lot. People don't, because I walk around people and I don't have no security, that guy's my social security card.
Not facts.
You know
I
what
saw
I'm
it
saying?
firsthand.
So people see me walk around like I'm normal and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and they haven't absorbed the gravity of who I really am and the things that I have accomplished. I got 2 bestsellers. This is just one of my books. I got another book called The Art of Human Chess. Most niggas can't even read. I'm writing books. And when you go to Amazon or you go to audio.com, check out my reviews. If this book ain't by the go to a system that I don't create and check out the reviews, you're going to be appalled. You're going to like, damn, scientists, business, everybody talking about they love Pimpin' King book. What's in that book? That's why it's in its 30th printing. Because people, they underestimate me, and that's my greatest asset.
Yes, sir.
That's why I'm able to, people don't even know Boosie signed to me.
Wow.
People don't know the new Rick Ross movie is my movie. I'm
Wow.
producing it. Me and Rick Ross got agreement. Ice-T book, Split Decision, that's my book. Corey Wise Words from Curry. You remember that?
Yep.
When They See Us?
Yeah, when they see us. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a part piece.
I did his book.
Central Part 5.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
The Boosie liquor deals and all that stuff.
Wow.
When you go to KOD and you see $20,000 worth of liquor in KOD, I'm making those deals. And don't nobody, he a pimp. Keep on, yeah, I'm a pimp.
You behind the scenes.
Yeah,
bro.
let me get all this money, right? You understand me? Let me break you suckers, and let me, you know what I'm saying, build one of the biggest and baddest organizations in the world while y'all keep saying he's a pimp. When I got a woman that's about to come on this
Yep.
platform
Yep.
that did a $30 billion acquisition.
Wow.
30 billion, Miss Catrice did a $30 billion acquisition, then ran some of the biggest companies in the world, and she's my COO.
Wow.
Al Sharpton, vice president, my CEO, James C.B. Gray, is the CEO of the hip hop fraternity. Zada Shadow works for IBM. He's worked for all of the major tech companies in the world. He's my CTO. Phil, he's my chief marketing officer. He worked for Russell Simmons and everybody. Miss Castleberry, I talk about this on Breakfast Club. I sent an 8-year-old kid named King Moore to the White House, along with Miss Catrice and Miss Castleberry and James. And they there right there with the president and everything. She's my director of veteran affairs. But I'm just a nigga from the hood. I'm a gangster, I'm a pimp, I'm a street nigga, right? But you don't see all the great things that I do. So as I said, I'm gonna be more appreciated when I'm dead. And people gonna realize what they realize. If somebody probably gonna do it. I probably do it. If I don't do it, somebody gonna probably go and do all this research. And they're gonna write a book, and it's gonna go out. It's gonna be a bestseller. And people are like, damn, I didn't know Ken did all that shit. But I'm steady telling them. I'm steady telling them about it. And it's just going over their head because the only thing they can see is that period. Pimp. Period. Over with. Nothing else to say. You know. And like I said, this woman here, she got more degrees than the thermometer. Her and I talk. We have the most intellectual conversations in the world. We travel the world together, making deals, sitting down with celebrities, you know, offering them equity partnerships. Shit that niggas wouldn't even believe that we doing. You know, we're going to Amazon Studios, some of the biggest companies in the world, telling our business. The biggest liquor companies in the world, I got their numbers on speed dial. This is what people need to start looking at. You know, what you go through, yeah, I was a pimp. Yeah, all that shit you just said. But man, that was the greatest experience ever. You know, I just told you I had to pimp for my rights back. Ask all them artists out there that got pimped for their publishers, had they pimped for their masters or their rights back yet. Ask 50 Cent anyone, ask them, what do the record labels do? They pimps. They rob people, you know, on a real level, not no nigga on the corner getting no $200 from a female. We talk about 200 million. We talking about trillions of dollars that they didn't rob young African-American males for, and they tell you the worst guy you can look at and the worst guy on the planet is Pimpin' Ken, or a guy who called himself a pimp. But Uncle Sam, every 15, said, break yourself, bitch. Don't get Uncle Sam his money and see what they do. They're going to be knocking at your door. Where my money at, ho? Wow. I need my money, bitch. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Me, you ain't going to pay me? All right, nigga, I'm hitting you with tax evasion. You going to jail, motherfucker, about my money. Wow. What you going to do with the money when I give it to you, pimp? I'm going to go give it to Ukraine. I'm going to go give it to other countries. I'm going to send soldiers all over the world at your expense. I'm going to bypass all the bombs at downtown. It's right there by the Greyhound station. Bombs everywhere. Yeah. Can our tax dollars at least give them a hamburger or a hot dog? Yeah. No, you giving our money to other foreign countries and talking about it's for national security. What national security? I'm in prison. I can't leave this motherfucker. I want to go to fucking Africa. I got to get a passport. See, everybody talking about the people that's coming in this motherfucker, the immigrants. We got an immigration problem. No, well, we got a problem. We got a, whatever you call them to get the fuck up out of here problem.
That's real talk.
We can't even leave this bitch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of motherfuckers want to leave. They can't leave. But they talking about the motherfuckers that want to come. They only want to come because they don't know the bullshit we go through. Wow. If they know the shit that was going on and the discrimination and the Jim Crowism and the white supremacist systemic racism that goes on in this country, they'd be like, man, fuck that. But when they get here, they feel it. In them goddamn concentration camps, them little immigrant camps, where they making these niggas work for nothing. Yeah. So this is the shit that niggas don't talk about. And I know I'm getting a little upset. You good. I'm mad because I can't leave when I want to leave. Why I need a fucking passport to get the fuck up out of here, and you talk about motherfuckers coming in this bitch. And we are the only non-immigrants in this country. Did you know that?
Hey, we talk about this all the time.
I'm serious. Hey, we the only motherfuckers that came here that didn't come here and honor the Statue of Liberty. We the only people that was forced to come here, and that America has never right that wrong. Think about that. So yeah, people talk about me being a pimp, but bro, I'm so much, I did so much since them days. That's almost archaic.
Wow. It's old news. Ken, this was a master class. We about to talk about hip hop fraternity. We about to bring on your COO. But before that, on the way out real quick as well, how can young men who are tapped in trying to get the game from you apply real game, realism when it comes to life without having to be a pimp, of course, but still having structure, still being a man, still having principles, honor, being smooth as well? How can we apply all of those good attributes when it comes to everyday living?
Well, the first thing, Master P said this, I was listening to it today. So when you look at an eagle and you look at a turkey, they look the same. But it's not the same. You understand me? An eagle is the most profound species in the bird kingdom. When the eagle sees a storm, it goes up into the storm and it propels over the storm to get a higher aptitude. Yeah. If an eagle see a pigeon, he flies away, lest he's prey, because he knows he's flying too low. Eagles fly alone. You know what I'm saying? When eagles make love, it's a process. The female eagle, she gets a stick, and she takes the stick, and she gets in the air, and she drops the stick, and the male eagle got to catch the stick. They do that all day. And then finally, he drops the stick, and she catches the stick, and that's their cue that they want to make love. When they make love, they don't make love on the ground, they make love in the air. That's why you never, even though a turkey look like an eagle, you never say eagle and a turkey making love. I ain't got nothing with it against a turkey. I ate one every Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got nothing. Me and turkey cool. You understand? I love turkey. But you understand me? Turkey ain't got nothing on the eagle. Right. When the eagle see his prey, he can see it 5 miles away. He see the rabbit, he see the snake, he see the fish, he see the fox, he see everything. But if he target in on this brother, he go until he get it. And his piercing is so strong that he locks. His claws are strong as hell. And he gets his prey. But the weakness, and this is the weakness of most young men, when the eagle see a weasel, he do everything. He got the same attributes. He go down and he grab the weasel and he put the weasels to his chest. And he fly, he ascend 10,000 feet, then he descend 10,000 feet to his death. The problem was he didn't let the weasel go. You know, when you was young, we said, man, that nigga's a weasel. A weasel is a sucker, is a lane, is a buster, right? You gotta get them suckers, those busters and them lanes out your life, because he's gonna eat your chest out, he's gonna stress you out, and he's gonna kill you eventually. You gotta get rid of that dead weight. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All these great things about the eagle, all these great things about black men, sometimes our biggest flaw be the people we hang around. If you see 10 millionaires jump in that crew, you're gonna be the 11th. You see 10 busters jump in that crew, you're gonna be the 11th buster. So the environment is important, you know, and endurance is important. You gotta have endurance. You gotta have stickability and not quitability. For example, back to my friend the eagle, right? No offense, turkey, but back to my friend the eagle. The eagle, when it gets 30 years old, you know what it do? What? His claws get weak and his beak get weak. Wow. So he goes to the highest mountain he can find and he hit his beak against a rock until it knocks his beak off. He waits a minute, he grow another beak. When he grow another beak, he take the beak and he bites his claws off. Claws go back and he live another 40 years. Wow. That's endurance. You know, never give up. A winner never quit, quit never win. It was a race. It was an African dude. He was running. He was in a marathon. He sprained his ankle and broke his leg in the midst of the race. And the ambulance, all the people, they came to try to help him. He kept pushing him away. And he hopped all the way. And his father said, leave him alone. He got to finish. Leave him alone. He have to finish. When he got to the finish line, he collapsed. The race wasn't important. The fact that he finished was the most important. Whatever you do in life, go all the way to the end. If I want to tell you anything that happened to me, is the fact that I am so successful in so many areas is I never quit. Anybody around me tell you, Ken is not going to quit. In spite of all the negativity, yes, people are going to leave you. When people leave you, say goodbye. You know why I say goodbye? Why? Spell goodbye.
G-O-O, good. Yeah, G-O-O-D.
Okay,
B-Y-E.
So it's good and goodbye.
Yeah, that's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Good. Yeah.
Say goodbye. Yeah. And anytime God take people out of your life, he finna rush a bunch of people in your life that's really going to be meaningful. Some people in your life for a season. Some people in your life for a reason. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All y'all together, y'all might not be together a year from now. He might say, I'm going to do my own shit. I'm going to start my own podcast. I learned everything I need to know. I know how them niggas get down. Don't be mad at him.
Yeah.
That was for a season. Then as soon as he leave, some white boy or some Mexican boy or some black boy, African boy from the University of, say, Georgia State, gonna come through. He's gonna show you a new way and an innovative way to do streaming. He's gonna show you, hey man, this is how that go. I had a lot of people come in Hip Hop Fraternity.
Wow.
The woman you about to introduce, I wouldn't take Nam on back for her. She's all unwrapped in 10.
Wow.
She helped me structure my business. You know, I met her 2 days. 2 days later, I made her CEO. I knew instantly that this is what the game was missing. You know, we talked, she teach me everything about corporate America. She teach me about, man, I know so much about, man, I believe I could run a Fortune 500 company now.
Wow.
I done picked up so much game for her. But, you know, the people that I had, initially, I thought they were the ones. So to young people, if somebody leave you, don't trip. Don't even trip. They're like buses. One lead, two more coming. So that's the thing that I'm gonna do. Endurance, you know, be like the eagle, you know, never quit. And you know, basically that's it. And then one last thing is, you know, don't tell people your dreams.
Mm.
A real general win the battle in his head before he goes to the battlefield. See, the sin don't lie in the sin, it lies in the thought.
Right.
As a man thinketh, so is he.
Yep.
A fish that never opened his mouth, what? Never gets caught.
That's right. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's important. You know, keep your strategies to yourself. And in my book, The Art of Human Child, I talk about strategy. I talk about maneuver. I talk about deception. I talk about manipulation. And people always say, oh, that part, but they say, why you talk about deception? I'm not talking about deception because I'm going to deceive you. I'm talking about deception because somebody else trying to deceive you. And the only way you can ward off deception is to know deception.
Wow.
You know, if a snake oil man come to you, I'm trying to teach you how to watch out for that clown. You know, if a record label come to you and they tell you to sign a contract without a lawyer, I'm trying to teach you that, man. That's some bull. You know what I'm saying? They run the game. Get you a lawyer. You know, you might need to have an escalation clause in that contract. You might need a de-escalation clause in that contract. You might become the next Nelly. You might become the next 50. You might become the next Eminem. You don't know that because hindsight is 20/20. Most people got insight, but they ain't got foresight. So being that you don't have the foresight to see and foresee that you're going to become the next Eminem or the next 50 Cent, you're going to make an irrational decision. So people who experience in that and then represent the 50s and the Eminems, they can foresee. They got foresight.
Yeah.
In case, brother so-and-so, I know you're a great artist, but just in case you become so-and-so, let's do a de-escalation clause because if you don't do good, the de-escalation clause means that, okay, we'll change the narrative of the deal because, you know, you didn't do so well. But the escalation clause, as I proceed, as I progress and go higher in this company in Universal, I'll be able to restructure my contract.
Wow.
And only a lawyer can tell you that. And if you don't go in with those understanding, most people don't understand legal lead.
Yep.
They don't understand jurisprudence, so they make bad deals. You know, and that's what I would tell young people. You know,
Wow.
I mean, just be smart. You know, and like I said, you know, don't let people know your dreams and don't let people know your goals. And if you fall, make sure you fall on your back because if you can look up, you can get up.
Come on now. Pimpin' Ken. And we about to pause for a very brief moment. Then after that, we about to talk about Hip Hop Fraternity.
Okay.
All right, perfect.
It's time for the fun part, talking about Hip Hop Fraternity, man. Kentrice, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you. Pimpin' Ken, he talks greatly about you, right? COO of Hip Hop Fraternity. What do you love the most about being part of this organization?
Well, I love that it is for our culture and it's our cause because we are needing to take our culture back and reclaim it.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
know? And that's one of the things that I saw that Ken had created. He is masterful in, like he said, strategy and understanding how to put all of the pieces together. But one of the things that, you know, we've seen is that a lot of times what has happened in hip hop is that our lyrics are not geared necessarily towards the positiveness about us.
Right.
And where the Hip Hop Fraternity comes in is that he created HHF Media Group, which is a conglomerate of not just music, right? Or trying to manage individuals. It's all about like giving us a platform that we can go in, log in as members. There's 38 chapters. We have like 11,000 members, and we're growing every day, especially when, you know, people are tuning in to shows like you're on. They can go in, they can sign up, become members, they can post. It's a whole social media website. They can post their music, they can post videos, things like that. They can become friends with other members. They can also go in and order goods through through the Hip Hop Fraternity clothing line. Also, for those who are wanting to go into the musicality side of it, we have HHF Radio. So we can pay their radio. So it's all like a seed. You become a member, you do all of these things. You can post your music, you can post videos, you can have your songs on the radio. Plus, we also have HHF Mag. You can go out and read about different celebrities and what's happening in today's news. There's also a woman section where you can go and learn about different aspects of what's going on with women in hip hop. Not only that, we have for courses as well. So if you go on to the hiphopfraternity.com or hhfmedia.com, you can click on these various links to take you to the radio, to take you to the magazine, and to also take individuals to where they can learn about ASCAP, BMI, blockchains, things like that. So everything has been purposely done in order to integrate into one conglomerate, which is the Hip Hop Fraternity, everything that we will need to know to take our culture back.
Oh, I love that for sure. As COO, what does the daily, day-to-day operations look like in your role and position?
Well, as you know, Ken, he created this organization about 4 years ago. So really it's all about what can be done in order to get the message out to others that we exist and that we are here to help them. Basically, and like Ken alluded to earlier about the 4 pillars of power, where, you know, there's political, there's Hollywood, there's Silicon Valley, and there's business. From a political aspect, you know, we're not just here for today's individuals, we're here for tomorrow. So part of what we're working with Ms. Castleberry is, you know, celebrities against gun violence. So we're looking to help with not only just gun violence on the youth, but gun violence all across all age groups. But, you know, we do target the youth because you have to go to your youth first. They are our future. But also working to bring about pension plans for other artists. So from that pillar, that's where the Hip Hop Fraternity and HHF Media Group is. We're working politically with the White House on those various initiatives. And then, as I said, for Silicon Valley, we have our platform, which is the Hip Hop Fraternity or HHF Media Group, where you can go on, you can become a member, and all of these things. From a business standpoint, we also offer classes for people to understand that it's not just lyrics that you have to understand and know about when you're creating music. When you're trying to build your brand and who you are, you need to know about business. And as you can tell, he knows a lot about business. So you have to know about business. You have to understand about contracts, clauses in contracts. Because if you know about all of that and you know what you want, even if you have an attorney, you should be the first person to read that contract along with that attorney so that no one can tell you what's good or what's bad. You will know for yourself. And from a financial standpoint, gaining that financial literacy, we are doing that consciously. And this is like building a business is something that is rare that we as a people kind of have insight into. And part of our curriculum and what we want is to bring about financial wisdom to create that legacy that Ken is talking about.
Yes, ma'am.
And that comes from building businesses that are on top of your brand, that's on top of your lyrics, that's understanding the contractual aspects of business, to understand the financial pieces of business. And that is all part of what Hip Hop Fraternity is and what we're trying to do.
Hey, you breaking it down. Ken, when did you know, I found my COO? Because she's amazing.
Well, you know, as the former CEO and the founder of the company, you know, like I said, you know, Moses in the Bible, right? He parted the Red Sea. He turned a stick into a snake. He talked to the guy behind the burning bush. He told Pharaoh to let his people go. But when he got in the wilderness, he didn't have no vision. So it was an Ethiopian brother that was married. He was married to his sister. He said, "How did I get out the wilderness?" He said, "I can't tell you." So what happened was Moses ended up dying in the wilderness 40 years later. But that guy took 40 days to get out the wilderness because the distance from where they were standing, the distance to get out the wilderness was 40 days.
Wow.
You know, and a lot of times, you know, we can do great things, but we have to rely on the wisdom of others. You know, I might know how to form the hip hop fraternity. I might know how to build all these great things. I might be as great as Moses, but I don't know how to navigate certain aspects of business.
Wow.
I don't know how to do some of the things you do, but one thing God did gave me the gift of discernment. I can discern, or I can, you know, interpret, if that's a better word, you know, her qualifications.
That's right.
So I seen her skill set, and I didn't base it on her lip service. I based it on her actions. So when I explained to her what the hip hop was talking about, and she put a pitch deck together within two weeks, I was like, oh my God. I said, she the one.
Wow.
You know, and I knew then instantly that, you know, she was the one that was going to take the hip hop fraternity to the next level. Because one of the things that is a trait with people that you as a businessman and as a young leader always look for initiative.
Yeah.
Initiatives when somebody do something, you don't ask them to do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that means that they have a labor of love. People got to love what they do, and I know that she loved what she did. And I know she loved helping, and she loved, you know, trying to get people to the next level. So I said, that's one passion I can live with, because at that point, her skill set became her asset. And at that point, I knew that I had to have a person like her on the team, because we are like-mindedness. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that was the the greatest thing that attracted me to her, was the fact that she took the initiative.
Wow.
And, you know, coupled with her intelligence and coupled with her experiences, when she told me she ran $1 billion company, a $30 billion company, took it from 26 billion to 33 billion. I said, I ain't got a dollar. I said, what can you, if you can take me to 2 million, I'm happy.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so I like, see, I know I need her on my
Yes,
team. So she got somebody else,
Come on now.
8, 9 billion. She probably get hip hop fraternity one. We'll be
Yes.
satisfied with one, you
Right.
know? So that was another point. Then I was able to go to her business, and I seen she owned a luxury business. She had Maybachs and G-Wagons and millions of dollars worth of cars on her lot. So I knew then that she wasn't just here for me to try to manipulate me or see what she can get out of me,
Yeah.
because she didn't need
She
me.
already had her own.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
another instant point that I knew that I was on the sun. And then, you know, she was very quiet. You know, fish that don't talk what?
Yeah.
Never get caught.
That's right.
So she was very talkative. She was very quiet, and that confused me. I got scared. I said, hope she ain't the feds.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? I said, she too damn quiet, right? But then after I got to know her, she wasn't quiet. She was taking notes.
Yeah, she's observant.
She was taking notes, and then she pretty much would regurgitate to me everything that I presented to her.
Wow.
I said, that's another fine quality.
Wow.
And I knew then, I said that me and this woman can make billions together, if not trillions, you know, and that's really what, you know, I'm very observant. People think
Yeah.
I'm just a person that just talking shit, but I listen, I study everything. You know, a lot of people study animals, I study people. You know, I can tell you who you is and what you're about just by looking at you. I just got that skill. And, you know, that was a blessing, you know. And another thing, you know, like when Miss Catrice was talking, you know, when we think about hip hop fraternity, right? She gave you all the beautiful things that we do, but how we got founded was based on the need, solving the problem.
Yes, sir.
It was a problem. The problem was everybody was charging here in the city of Atlanta, the young people, to pay for showcases. So if you ever want to create another Michael Jackson or another Prince, you must have an Apollo.
Yeah.
Or you must have an American Idol. So we said we're going to create the hip hop fraternity and use it in the capacity of a Apollo or a American Idol. We're going to let everybody perform for free. And we're going to disrupt the entire industry of Atlanta. You know, and that's what we did. and people came in droves and in large numbers, and we were able to create, the hip hop fraternity by allowing people to eat free, perform free, and get in free.
Wow.
So that's how we actually got started.
Mm.
And then when we decided to go across the nation, we understood COINTELPRO.
Yes, sir.
We understood the fear of a black messiah. So we formed our chapters as LLCs owned by Miss Cantrice.
Wow.
So she owns the LLC, but she's DBA. So we DBA our licenses out.
Wow.
So she can get a license from Hip Hop Fraternity,
Wow.
but she runs the chapter and it's owned by her.
Wow.
And she runs the business structure. That way we can never get caught up in a conspiracy, or if she a gang member, she can never bring that to the Hip Hop Fraternity because of we got certain rules and regulations within our license agreement that stipulates that you cannot be a gang member, sell drugs, or do none of these licentious things that could bring harm or irreparable harm to the organization. And this is in perpetuity, throughout the durations. And then we only give them a 1-year license because we want to be able to monitor them on an annual basis and make that decision whether they're worthy of our, our membership or our chapters. So, that is coupled with that. And then a lot of people don't understand another reason why we started Hip Hop Fraternity, because if you look at culture, right, what's Mexicans known for? Tacos, right?
Yes, sir.
What is Asians known for? Egg rolls, right?
Yeah.
What is Italians known for? SpaghettiOs, right?
Yeah. Alfredo.
What is
yeah.
Greeks known for? Gyros, right?
Yep. Yep.
Well, niggas got hip hop.
That's right.
So we are since Sylvia Robinson, a black woman, and Big Bang Hank formed this in the Bronx over 50 years ago, almost 51 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's been pretty much our culture and our call. You look at Eminem, you look at the BC Boys, they did well, they tried, but
It don't hit the same.
it don't hit the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Me and if it was that easy, give me another Eminem, give me another BC Boys. They come every 10, 20 years. Somebody, will learn the skill and they'll get out there and we'll think, oh, they the greatest rapper of all time because, they look different.
Yeah.
And, that's how the mind works. The mind say, man, dude, woo, 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 because they ain't seen a bunch of him. So that makes him a rarity. That's just like a painting, a Picasso or Mona Lisa. That's the same scenario. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? We are the creators of this culture.
Yes, sir.
Hip hop is the new Black Wall Street. It created 5 billionaires.
Yeah.
It created an untold amount of millionaires. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, GDP was 2.5 billion.
Wow.
Jay-Z is worth 2.5 billion. One man worth the entire GDP of an economy, a black economy at that time. Kanye West was alleged to be worth 6 billion. 6 billion is 3 times the value of Black Wall Street. So we know that unequivocally that hip hop is the new Black Wall Street. We just got to learn how to save and invest.
Wow.
We got to learn diversification. We got to learn vertical integration.
Yes, sir.
We got to learn how to get an S Corp that she formed for us. Everybody say I got an LLC. You can have an LLC,
Right.
but an LLC is a limited liability corporation.
Yes, sir.
But
Yeah.
if you had a woman, right? You got a woman, right?
Yes, sir. She's right there.
That's your woman?
Yes, sir.
She's beautiful, right?
Yes, sir.
She got a nice body, right?
Yes, sir.
Got a nice skin color, right?
Yeah.
She love you, right?
Yes, sir.
But she said you don't get no sex
Mm-hmm.
or nothing. She's limited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's an LLC.
She's an LLC, but if you go to a bank and you say you're a limited liability, you're limited. But if you say you're a C Corp or S Corp,
Yeah.
now you're talking their language. Business is Latin.
Mm.
And that's what hip hop fraternity's here to do, to teach our brothers and sisters the Latin of business. So that's why we have so many companies and so many corporations. We're not just a fraternity, but we also a prototype and we also a proof of concept for everybody that's going
For
to
the
come
next
behind us.
Yes, sir.
And somebody had to show them that. And God blessed me with the wisdom and understanding to see the problem. Because when you look at hip hop, right, you think about East Coast versus West Coast, right?
Yeah.
You think about Death Row versus Bad Boy, right?
Yeah.
Think about Cash Money versus No Limit, right?
Mm.
That was divisive.
Yeah.
That's why the term hip hop fraternity was available. That's why I was able to trademark the name, because they never
That's crazy. Yeah.
anticipated us coming together.
Right.
And that's what game is, young man. That's what game is. That's what wisdom is. Understanding, certain things. Being able to interpret the game, know what the game was. The game was to create Bloods and Crips. The number one rapper of all time is Blood,
Tupac.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah, say Wayne as well.
The number one
Yeah.
Crip in the world is Snoop Dogg.
Yeah,
He just did the Olympics.
yeah, yeah,
You think that's not going to inspire young people to be Crips and Bloods?
yeah.
The sexiest bra on the planet, and I don't agree with it, Sexy Red.
Yeah.
My booty hole brown.
Yeah,
Go Sexy.
yeah,
Come on now. You understand what I'm saying? This is what's being fostered to our children. Cardi B,
yeah,
ex-stripper,
yeah.
fine as hell. Everybody want to be Cardi B. Everybody want to be Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
A Beyonce, a married woman.
Yeah.
You catch her in the thong every now and then. You catch her looking sexy. You catch her making it drop like it's hot. She married a woman with children. Kim Kardashian, married with children. But the imagery that we're projecting and we're pushing, like Miss Catrice was talking about, we got to change that.
Yes.
Because what we're creating a system of young ladies that's going to come up thinking that that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yes, sir.
and they're going to put tattoos all over their body. They're going to do a whole bunch of stuff, and they ain't going to have the skill sets of Beyonce or anybody who may have that and have skills. Everybody ain't for the be Beyonce. Everybody for the be Cardi. Everybody for the be Sexy Red. Sexy Red from the projects of St. Louis.
Yeah.
Every project chick ain't for the get the money that she's getting. Every dude from New Orleans that got tattoos on his face and all that, man, you're not a pretty sight. People are shining you.
Wow.
I ain't saying if that's your prerogative, do what you want to do. But we got to figure out how to change the narrative, and that's what the hip hop fraternity's here. That's why you see me in a suit all the time. It costs a lot of money. These suits cost a lot of money, man. She'll tell you I wear a suit, different suit every podcast. You know how expensive that is?
Yes, sir.
But I have to do it. I have to invest in myself, and I have to invest in suits because I want some young man that's been in the game. That was I used to pop them things too. I used to sell them motherfucking rocks. I used to do everything. I want a young nigga to look at me and say, damn, look at the OG. Because my person that I look to was Don King. If you look at Don King, look at my life, it's similar.
Yeah, he went to prison. A lot of people, man, they don't
now
even
I'm
know
talking
that.
about the way he moved,
Yeah, how he
all the
carried
celebrities,
himself.
everything.
Yeah.
We got a lot of same characteristics.
Yeah.
But had I not seen the Don King, it
Yeah.
wouldn't have been.
He set that example for you.
Yeah, he set the
Yeah.
example for me, and I seen him with Muhammad Ali and with
Yeah.
Malcolm X
Yeah.
and all these celebrities. I said I could be
Yeah.
around these celebrities too. And look how many celebrities I've been around.
Yeah, made a lot of money.
Now
yeah.
I seen him do business with corporate man. Look at all
Yeah.
the corporate entities that I did business with.
Yeah.
HBO, come
Yeah,
on,
that's
man.
huge.
A hood nigga from Milwaukee, from the slums of Milwaukee, got HBO in the hood in Milwaukee,
Yeah.
sitting down doing business, filming at my daddy's bar.
Simon and Schuster. Yeah.
Nah, this was a HBO.
Yeah.
This Simon and Schuster.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
That's
like,
two-
hey, you
that's
work with
not-
all these brands.
Now, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
two different corporate entities.
Yeah, that's huge.
So I
Yeah,
have to
that's
wear
what
a
I'm saying.
suit. I have to parade this book around
Yeah.
because there's a lot of young people, believe it or not, that's in the same bag, in the same position I was when I was young. Bro, you might not believe this because I don't portray this character. There was a time when I was in my 20s, nigga, I didn't give a fuck who I killed.
Wow.
I didn't give a fuck about nobody's life. I didn't give a fuck
Wow.
about nothing. Anybody can get it. I don't even believe, now I don't even carry a gun. I can't believe the transition that I made from that to now.
Evolution.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I went from like, nigga, what? I've been shot 5 times, been a whole bunch of shootout. Man, I'm from Milwaukee. Now I go through there, man, them young people be like, oh, you inspire me, man, woo. I don't have no gun, nothing. I just go through there by myself, walk to the hood, I go talk to the wino, sit on the corner with them, get them niggas $5, $10, talk to them, and everybody love me in the city. So I'm really doing everything I'm doing to try to make sure, man, that somebody make it. Somebody got to make it out of Milwaukee.
Yes, sir.
It's a bad condition. I don't know if you ever been there, bro. It's sad. I know you go down to the Bluff or you go down there, certain parts, some, especially even by over there in the projects,
Yeah.
it's real bad over there. But imagine that times 10. An entire community, the African American community in Milwaukee, is impoverished.
Wow.
I was fortunate enough to move to the suburbs, and it was 20, 30 minutes from the city. I used to come to the city. I used to feel guilty I be in my Rolls Royce, my Maserati, and my convertible Benz, and I head up Silver Spring, going to my house, and as I'm heading up to the house, I can see the dilapidation. I can see the downtrodden, and I'll be like, man, my people are sad. And even though I lived in the suburbs, I still had to come to Atlanta and to Miami and to Texas. I had to move because it was that bad. It was that bad because you could live in these fabulous homes. I had a big ass home. My kids had swimming pools, basketballs, all that shit. They all went to good schools and shit like that. But my partners was fucked up. And that's why we form a hip hop fraternity. We want to make sure that we create generational wealth. I want to create jobs for those same people. Yes, I want to get those same guys record labels, record deals, so they can say, yeah, man, I'm signed with Hip Hop Fraternity. They got a machine. They got a magazine. They got a radio. They got social media. They got all the tools we need. They got a streaming service. They got a film company to put us to the next level. And this was going on in my head when you talk about Hip Hop Fraternity. All this shit, all the things that I know about the music industry, everything I know about this, everything I know about HBO, about filming, is in my head, and that's what I'm trying to put together. I'm trying to put together a collage of the experiences that I have in these various business entities. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And that's what Hip Hop Fraternity is. And that's why I said they never wanted us to come together because it was very divisive. It's East Coast versus West Coast. That was big. A lot of people died in that. Tupac and Biggie died from that. So we have to change the narrative. And Hip Hop Fraternity, we like the Masons. We like the Eastern Stars. We're a fraternity.
And sorority.
And a sorority.
She said, don't forget.
That's what the Eastern Stars is. That's a sorority. Yeah. So we all of that in one, right?
Yes, sir.
So we're the hip hop fraternity, but when you think about the fraternity and the sorority, you think about a brotherhood, the sisterhood, right? And that's what we are. So what we also created in conclusion is we created a system where we support each other. We synchronize. We're ecosystem. So she's wearing HHF jacket, and she's promoting HHF. You're on HHF radio. You're promoting HHF jacket. We all HHF is synchronizes. Everything supported. All roads lead to this diamond pendant HHF. So that's what HHF is. It's a black union. It's a black think tank. It's all things hip hop in one.
Yes, sir.
And anything dealing with the business of hip hop.
Yeah.
So, like he said, we need people who, for our studio, engineers, to come in and do different work for the podcast. We need people, professionals, accountants, attorneys, everything.
Yes,
so hip hop is all encompassing of all of that.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not just, like I said, the lyricality of music. It's how do we get the music out to the masses? How do we ensure that our music is safe through copyrights and all of that stuff? How do we even get the royalties back from our music,
That's right.
and publishing?
Yes.
All of that is what Hip Hop Fraternity is.
Ms. Cantrice, on the way out, where can everybody tap in with the Hip Hop Fraternity, follow you guys, any upcoming events, all that good stuff as well?
All right. Like Ken said, we are a corporation. And one of the things that we're really wanting to do is in the next 3 to 5 years, we want to go public. We want to be the first hip hop organization to go public on NASDAQ, on Wall Street. So right now, what we do is we're also giving people the opportunity to come in on the ground level and buy stock in the company because it's a tremendous opportunity right now. You could find more about that by sending me a direct message through Instagram.
Okay.
HHF_COO is how you can reach me on Instagram.
Okay.
You can also go out and register to be a member of the fraternity sorority. That's who we are.
Yes.
It's the hiphopfraternity.com or hhfmedia.com. It will all take you to the same landing page.
Okay.
And then you can sign up, be a member, and of course, start uploading music videos, uploading music, checking out our radio, going to see about our courses, buy Ken's books, and the movies. Like he said, I mean, we're all inclusive, right? Books, movies, records, management company. He mentioned Goldie, so managing
and
Goldie.
Mike Fresh also an artist.
Mike Fresh, yes, and our youngest member,
Moore.
King Moore, which is 8 years old, who went to the White House with us to talk about celebrities against gun violence.
Wow.
So just remember, hhfmedia.com or thehiphopfraternity.com. I can be found on HHF_COO on Instagram.
Wow. Ms. Cantrice, Pimpy Ken, thank y'all so much.
Just
Thank
let me
you
give
for
my
your
book a
time.
shout. Y'all
Yes,
go get
Pimpology,
this book
let's do
at hhfmedia.com. Hit the
Yes.
word books. You can order this book. If you want to get it on live book, go to amazon.com. And if you want to follow me at realpimpken_ on Instagram.
Yes,
Peace.
sir, man. Thank y'all so much. Y'all keep doing God's work. This is amazing. Make sure
Thank you.
y'all follow them, Hip Hop Fraternity. Support the platform as well. Thank y'all again, man. Again, blessed be your host, Caleb Smith. Until next time, peace.